Good evening, A2D family. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of On the Road to Victory. I'm your host, Jimmy Smith, with my co-host, Jake Friel. Oh, guys, not even, just not even feeling it tonight. Just trying to get into it. So pissed off. But, I was excited for tonight because I was like, I told these guys this is what was going to happen. So I hope you guys are ready for a great show tonight. Tonight's show is brought to you by our doc, Dr. Paul Vidal. You can find him in 3 locations in New Jersey. That is Cherry Hill, Princeton, and Burlington. You can find them at specializedphysicaltherapy.com. He's our doc. Make him yours, Dr. Paul Vidal. Also check out Ambuck Services. They are the gutter guys of New Jersey. Check them out at Ambuck, AMBUCK services.com. And also check out all of our A2D merchandise at phillydrinkers.com and all social platforms, Philly Drinkers. The ridiculous shirt they just came out with the other day, bad things happen in Philadelphia, and it seems to be the case. Dear Lord, Jake, are we in for a great show tonight? The whole week, I'm like, are you? So just angry. And then things just get worse as the injuries pile up. So looking forward to a great show tonight, guys. But thank you to everybody tuning in on this Friday night. Appreciate all the comments and questions that you guys throw our way. We're definitely going to be tearing it up about the Birds, talking about the last few weeks, talk about the upcoming week, some of the additions they made, things they've done. But ultimately, we're open to anything you guys want to talk about this week, so let's have it. Look at this, the first question of the day. Who will be let go first, Jim, Doug, or Howie? That's hilarious because Jake and I were just talking right before the show about this exact thing. So, Palatero, great question. I would like to throat punch a lot of people at this point. That's the great thing. Isn't it? Not really great, but you can't just be mad at one person or say this or that. It's literally a plethora of things. And, in your opinion, Jake, why don't you go ahead and let these people know what you were thinking about this?
Yeah, I mean, like we talked about before the show, it's a whole comedy of errors. I mean, God forbid if theoretically the season does go down the toilet, we're 5-1. That tie's going to screw me up every time.
I know.
But anyway, it's a whole comedy of errors. Howie can't draft. Doug's incompetent with his play calls. He's not consistent. He's not. Whatever happened to the aggressive Doug, I have no clue. I don't know what happened to him. He went somewhere. I think after we won the Super Bowl, he kind of went away a little bit. He left to tell him a little bit in 2018. But I mean, and I'll say what I told you before, Jimmy, is that the Eagles aren't going to get rid of Howie Roseman, no matter how much we bitch, how much we complain. What people have to understand is Howie started here back as a assistant. So he's been here for 20 plus years. Jeff loves him to death. So whether I'd love to see his GM power or not GM power, his ability to draft get taken away from him. I'd love to see that. But I know Howie's always prefaced on he wants to be a GM. And that means drafting, cap, and the whole 9 yards. So I don't know. Realistically, as sad as it sounds, they're going to move on from Jim Schwartz and Doug Peterson way, way before they move on from Howie Roseman.
I think you might be right because, the fact is Jeffrey loves his boy, and that's Howie Roseman. And you saw, he put him in the corner closet, but he didn't get rid of him. That just goes to show he still kept him around. You knew that if Chip failed, he would bring him back. So what is going on to Tristan, Don, Palatero? I hope we don't get shellacked on live TV either. Night game, so we're going to have to wait all day. We're just going to have to wait for this. It's like, do we even – I mean, this whole week, I've just – every day I have to talk about it, and it's like, Jake, you and I and Tom talked last week. I did not want to even come on here if we lost. I'm almost more pissed off by the fact that we tied. Doug didn't even have the balls to go for it. I wanted to jump right through the wall. I was like, this is a joke. You're punt. Well, first off, the penalty. Now, I don't even care. What's going on, Mark? Everybody, I hope you'll tune in. Throw all your comments and questions your way because, we're pissed, but we're pissed with you guys. We're going to get through this together, and it's going to hurt because it has hurt. And this tie, Jake, what the hell was Doug doing? What are we seeing here from Doug not going for it? What are we, 0-3 this year on fourth down? Just
it's bad. But again, like we talked before the show, whatever happened to Doug in 2018 and 2017, he's not as aggressive anymore. And what it tells me more than anything, Jimmy, and it's a bad look on Doug Peterson, he doesn't trust his guys. That's what that move told me more than anything. Plain and simple. He just does not trust his guys, so he went for the punt, and he just dealt with the tie, which, again, is ridiculous. And there's people going back and forth like, oh, it was a smart move. Yeah, sure, it was a smart move. But, again, I'd rather be in the lose column than be in the tie column. You know what I mean? It's just to me, it's a missed opportunity. And again, I'm not saying it would have given this team the same spark it did in 2017 with the Giants field goal that led us on a magical journey to the Super Bowl where we won the Super Bowl. And it's I'm not saying that, but it's just something that really helps your team. It bolsters your roster a little bit, gives the guys a little morale, makes them feel good about themselves. But right now, with a slew of injuries coming up just in a matter of a past couple of days, and they seem to be stacking up even when we're not playing football during the week, it's ridiculous. So, I mean, again, the 49ers are banged up too, but again,
yeah, they are. And I mean, exactly, it's bad for us. Look how banged up we are. Every week it just gets worse and worse. It's honestly, it's getting hard to watch. It's getting really stressful for me. But this week we're going to be without Deshaun Jackson. Some people were trying to talk about what's going on, Gongos. Man, Ryan. Yeah, man, it was tough to watch the tie. And to answer the original question, I think in my eyes, Jake's right in a way that Howie, he just sticks around. And I think that the coaches, people are catching on to what they're doing, and they have for the last couple of years. And we've just been getting lucky and getting by playing a crap division. Mm-hmm. The thing is, we had no business really in the last couple of years being in there, whether there's a drop by Alshon, whatever. I really think that this team needs to rethink a few things. And I love Carson Wentz, and I think that he still has some things. But you talk about no receivers. Now he really has no receivers. I'm very scared of what is coming out. I love Greg Ward. I do. We all talk very highly of him. We talked about him being a starter this year in our, pre-roster, our projection, whatever it was. But, Greg Ward was a slot guy, and he's been doing well. But the thing is, now teams are going to be able to key on him because what are you bringing out here? John Hightower, Quez Watkins is supposed to play his first game. Yep. He was activated just the other day. Yeah, Arthega-Whiteside's doubtful. So, dear God, who cares? The guy hasn't even had a catch.
Like he added anything.
Exactly. So it's terrible that this is what's happening when we were excited about these receivers. And now it's back to the same thing last year. It's like, oh, Travis Fulgham's going to come up from the practice squad. And, okay, our saviors, right? Deontay Burnett. And everything's going to be fine now. We added Akeem Butler this week. He was an intriguing kid I watched in the draft last year, but he was hurt for the Cardinals. Then he went on the Panthers, didn't make it. We took him off the practice squad, turning him into a tight end. I understand Goddard's out, so you need something like that. Think of maybe in a Perkins role. But, Richard Rodgers is going to have to come in and block. I think we'll actually be okay at the tight end position. But what are you thinking about these receivers and the tight end position with Goddard out? What's going on, Charles?
It's just a whole bunch of issues. Like we said before, Jimmy, it's a mess. I mean, bringing in Akeem Butler's nice. I mean, again, he's 225, so he's not a tight end. I don't care what anyone says. He's not a tight end. Like, obviously, he has the height of a tight end, but at the same, he's a wide receiver. Yeah, man. And I think you're going to see him with just the slew of injuries that we have at the wide receiver position. You're going to see him line up at wide receiver. But again, it's another thing where these rookie wide receivers and Quez Watkins and John Hightower have a golden opportunity to step up and show what they have. Again, they're late round picks, so I'm not really expecting anything crazy, even though I'm high on John Hightower. It's his rookie year. And people are, in my opinion, overhyping Quez Watkins just a little bit. But if they give any contribution at all, whether it be a touchdown or a handful of catches, I'll be happy because I think that's all we're really going to have to look forward to on Sunday.
Yeah, honestly, we have to. I mean, what the heck? I mean, this is scary. And you saw practice yesterday. Greg Ward was the only guy there. So it's like, oh, that's fantastic. And you have these practice squad guys, but dear God. Wow. Some of these guys people are never going to even have heard of, and they're going to be making catches. So we don't. What's sad is we talked about this. We had Tom on a couple weeks ago laughing about, having to rely on these guys. We hope we didn't have to. Well, here we are, and we're relying on these guys. And it comes down to trying to run the ball. And I think we can run the ball on these guys. They have a lot of injuries, but they're still pretty tough team. Javon Kinlaw, very good draft pick of theirs. He replaces DeForest Buckner, who they traded the Colts. I think, they're still a very good team. D Ford's out. That's good. Richard Sherman. So their defense is a little banged up. We need to try to run the ball. Still have to. I mean, we talk about that every week. You have to establish the run to do all the stuff you want to do. Miles Sanders doesn't need to be tired at the end of the game when you're doing well. I'm really getting fed up at this point. So, I mean, you have to hope that John Hightower gets better. And Quez Watkins, I mean, you can't expect much from these guys, but you never know. We can pray that it's one of those games where somebody just goes off. This is hilarious comment from Cosmos and Dicey. Eagles could go 2-13-1 and still maybe win the division.
It's very possible.
It's very possible in this trash division. I can't believe the Cowboys won that game the other week coming back on the Falcons. That pissed me off. But wow. Eagles, what is going on here? We talked about a game where you needed to beat the Bengals. You needed to. And Jake came out here and said, well, you could lose because this team's just playing. And, we said it. You're right. And everybody was pissed. And I tried to sit in the middle and play devil's advocate. And obviously it crushed me too. But you're right. And you don't want to believe something like that against a team like that. But we all know Joe Burrow's the number one pick for a reason. Kid played well, very well, did better, a lot better than Carson Wentz. So Carson turned it on at the end. I'm not saying that, but dude, dear God, still feeling sick when Sharon Rager pick over Jeff. Hey, I love Jalen Rager, and I still like that pick. You got to understand that if Justin Jefferson was on this team, would he even have both legs? Would he?
Yeah, he'd get hurt somehow.
Exactly. So it's like, you guys got to understand, Justin Jefferson was somebody I really liked. It was actually the first name. Jefferson. It was the first wide receiver I broke down pre-draft, and I really liked the kid. And then when it came down to it, I just thought Rager was the perfect fit. And I think he is. And when he gets healthy, yes, but you need other receivers around him. And that's something the Eagles didn't do. Getting Old Man River, Alshon Jeffrey, that contract. Now we're stuck with him, always waiting for him, always injured. It's like, what is happening to this team, man? And I'm ready to jump through a wall at this point. But, you were right, Jake, but I guess we're both right and wrong at the same time because we tied. A tie that's just like a losing. I understand in the rankings, it's like, oh, well, you're still ahead. It's like, look, I'm still pissed off. I would have rather it tied if we went for it and didn't get it. And, okay, you still went for it. Now I'm scared. Doug Peterson, I mean, do you think there's any chance, Jake, that this possibly, because now Doug said it, I made a mistake. And next time I'd go for it, I need to turn back into myself being crazy. Do you think this can maybe be that spark we've been waiting for? And is it even at this point? There's no obviously receiver, so it's scary. But do you think this defense could keep playing well to an extent? There's still some big flaws there. But
I mean, the only real person I can really lean my hat on, Jimmy, to be honest with you, is Darius Slade. The dude's been playing lights out, and it's everyone around and everyone else around him that struggled. So I'd love to see more contributions from Josh Sweat. You're seeing little bits and pieces of him here and there, which is always nice to see. But again, I need more. But at the same time, it's a little concerning to me on Derek Barnett's end that Josh Sweat's getting the start over Derek Barnett. So that kind of tells me a little something there. So, I mean, can they?
Something we talked about, right?
Yeah. I mean, can they have a standout game? Sure. But I mean, when you have Deebo Samuel coming back and you still have a pretty solid offense with the 49ers and people, at least from what I've seen these past 2 weeks, I should say, they're not giving Nick Mullins the respect he deserves. He's a solid quarterback. He's a good quarterback in this league, in my opinion. and he can play a little bit. Plain and simple, he can play a little bit.
Yeah.
And there's gonna be people, and I'm gonna get to Don's comment earlier, which was who's covering George Kittle, and that's gonna be Nate Gary. So you're gonna have people open, regardless. You're gonna have people open. If Nick Mullins throws more than one interception during this game, then I'll Then I'll be concerned for the 49ers at that point. But in my opinion, the offense should coast. We're talking about the 49ers, but other than that, I just I just don't see how it's going to be a smooth night, and we don't get embarrassed on national television.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of scary because they've got Jeff Wilson running the ball, who's still a good back. They got Jerick McKinnon, so all they got to do is double Ertz and Ward. Yeah, and that's exactly what they're going to do. Spence, we were talking about that a little bit earlier with Ward, but Ertz, exactly. That we have no other weapons, so going to be scary. You need to run the ball, get some screens out there, but they've got good linebackers. They got a good team, but when it comes to who's going to cover Kittle, you're going to have to figure something out where you help Gary because, dear God, you know it. But the problem is they've got good receivers. I mean, Dante Pettis, whatever, he's not that great. Trent Taylor, I think, is banged up. But they've got Deebo Samuel coming back, say he's going to be a limited capacity, very good receiver. And then Brandon Ayuk, a very good receiver in this draft. And now here's a funny comment. Okay. Now, this is something I was always like, I don't give a damn about these players. Stop talking about it. Unrealistic. Not going to happen.
Right.
At this point, the poll question, let's just get on down to it. Should the Eagles sign or trade for a wide receiver? Look at this wide receiving core. Holy hell. This guy might come back this week. Yeah, and probably get hurt that week too. Be out for the season. Jake, do you agree or disagree? I think I'm going to have to agree. We talked a little bit about this before the show. I think we got to give Carson a weapon here before we just jump ship, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're crazy to say you don't agree at this point with all the injuries that we have. And again, it leads to I think me and Tom and a lot of us share the same thinking in that DeAndre Hopkins would look pretty nice right now. I'm just saying, DeAndre Hopkins would look pretty nice. You had a couple other wide receivers that were available, maybe Odell. Obviously, people aren't a fan of the captain of the septic team, but I mean, again, it's just ignorance on Howie, in my opinion, to where I think that this football team and us as a fan base really overrated this wide receiving core. And again, you can't predict injuries, but it's it's laughable. I honestly can't do anything else but laugh.
Yeah, and it sucks because you're like deja vu. Here we go again, same guys over and over. So we talked about getting receivers. Well, we drafted a bunch of them, but we didn't get anything else other than that. You rely on Alshon. You knew he was hurt. We talked about needing an X receiver, and you relied on JJ. And what's horrible is you could add DK. We're going to talk about that forever. God. It's like, why does this have to happen to us? Because Carson could have had a weapon that was just unstoppable, and then Rager, oh my God, this offense would be fantastic. But we don't have that.
Yeah, but before you move on, Jimmy, sorry to cut you off. No. Are we going to look at the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and the DK Metcalf thing in a similar light that we looked at Brandon Graham and Earl Thomas? Is that where we're at right now with this?
Well, I'm happy with the Brandon Graham over Earl Thomas at this point.
It took a while,
but yeah, I hear you. You know, something that we were pissed off about as Eagles fans, and it's unreal, man, that we let Howie and these guys get away with so much where they make a few good picks here and there, and then just trash after that. And it's like, I can't. I really can't. And it's driving me insane, brother. It is. What were we just talking about? I'm sorry. I was reading these comments here.
Yeah, I think we were just talking about
what's going on to everybody that just tuned in. Gordon,
to what Big Poppy was saying. Do we get rolled on Sunday? That's pretty much what we were talking about.
Well, the receivers.
Yeah, that's what it was.
So, you know, I think that the point is here that we have wanted a number one receiver. We've talked about how there were some great receivers in this draft, and we could have moved up Dude, CeeDee Lamb. I know Jerry Jeudy was a consensus favorite, but
And he balled out yesterday.
yeah, he really did. And I didn't play him in fantasy. And now all my other guys are hurt and might not play this Sunday. Fantastic. But, I really just, I'm getting angry inside because it's like, we're really not helping this kid. And you're drafting a quarterback in the second round instead of getting him weapons. We've talked about this almost every show because it's just that much of a problem, a glaring problem. So, yes, Big Papi, get that man a number one receiver. Do what you can. And it's like, you hear some names out there. It's like, oh, DJ Moore. Hey, that's all right. But like a big X receiver would be nice. And, like you said, Odell Beckham. I understand people hate his attitude and everything, but damn, I think his attitude's all right when he's winning. So you add him with Carson, maybe I'd be okay with that, Jake. Because at this point, just give the man a wide receiver. There's really not much out there. Like there really isn't. Justin Hardy's of the world. You know what I mean? It's like, what's this? Bring back Jordan Matthews. That's the nightmare. I'm going to wake up and that's going to happen next because right now we're looking at the same damn crap that we had last year. So
possibly worse. Possibly worse.
And exactly. And you're right, because if you look at it, our offensive line is now decimated. So now Carson might get decimated. Well, he's already looked like crap. And it's like half of it was the excuse. And then the other, it's just, man, I'm dying inside, Jake.
Yeah. And again, to what you said, Jimmy, the offensive line is decimated. The wide receivers aren't there. Carson doesn't have playmakers. This is almost how and again, I don't believe this to be true. At least I hope it's not true. You're almost setting up Carson Wentz to fail at this point. You're almost setting up Carson Wentz to fail. And whether he gets benched or whatever may happen, you're almost giving – I'm not going to say you're giving him, talking about Jalen Hurts, the golden ticket to the franchise, but you're almost just paving him a lane to where if Wentz continues to struggle, and his footwork and his mobility was fine. It's just his accuracy with his throws, his inconsistencies. If it continues and it persists, it's going to be a matter of time just before he gets benched. And I don't think it's going to happen I don't think it's going to happen this Sunday or these next handful of games. But I think by week 8 we might see a transition, and that's if Wentz continues to struggle. I need to preface that. It's if Wentz continues to struggle and we're still losing football games. But again, what people don't understand is when you make that transition, you can't just sit your $100 million guy and have the rookie come in. At that point, you're almost handing the keys to the castle at that point. Because when you do something like that, you can't bring a guy like that back in after one game. You know what I mean? You can't have Jalen Hurts play one game and have Carson Wentz just sit for that one game and be like, okay, Jalen, that was just a little recoup game for Carson. But it's a tough position that this franchise is in, and it all revolves around Harry Roseman. This is this is what you've created, and now could possibly be sitting in it. So I mean, it's a mess. It's a mess.
Yeah, and the thing is, if you keep seeing this, and this is something that we talked about, that's a possibility, and whether we like it or not. But you talk about the money is an important thing, and this guy is your quarterback, and this team sees him as a leader right now. So it's going to take a few more horrible games, and boy, do we have the schedule that could make that happen for him. So you got to hope that this kid finds something inside himself and just really starts. And you saw glimpses of that this past Sunday. And I loved it. When the game started, I was like, oh, my Lord, here we go. We're using him out of the pocket. He's running the ball. This offense is going to go. And then faded away, and we saw crap. Then you see right at the end of the game, he comes out and brings it to overtime, thank God. But, for the tie that we all wanted so badly. And now I want to punch myself in the face. They need Daniel Jeremiah. I'd be down with it. Give me Lou Riddick, man. Old Louis Riddick. He is a great, great mind. I think he'd be fantastic as the Eagles GM. Louis Riddick, please come. Please help the Eagles.
Don't do that to me. I can't.
No knock on Daniel Jeremiah, but I love them both. They can both come. Score prediction. Tie game. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a tie. We better hope that we can even win this game. And like Jake said earlier, Nick Mullins is a good quarterback. But you're talking about Jalen Hurts coming in. Now, the thing is, he's not going to come in right away. He's a rookie. He still needs to get, his feet under him. You see that last week with the fumble, but they're going to keep integrating him into this offense with things. And I'm worried for Carson, but guys are getting torched this weekend. I'm kind of scared. I'm glad it's not Jimmy and the boys, but hey, it's still Nick Mullins. He threw for over 300 yards. I know it was Jets, but our defense is a little better, but cornerback too. Missing right there. Trevor Williams is also out this week. We're hoping he can maybe fill in. Dear God, maybe Michael Jacket gets brought up on the practice squad. Oh, that makes me feel comfortable inside. No. Strap hopefully comes in, starts, and you're going to see him and Nikel Roby-Coleman.
Yep.
Two of those guys moving around. Maybe Jalen Mills moved over at corner. Get Kayvon Wallace some more time at safety. What are your thoughts on maybe making a move like that? Because we are barren at corner right now, and that's kind of scary. Do you see something like Jalen Mills like that happening in a hybrid type role?
I mean, it makes sense, right? The guy's been there before. He's played the position. I mean, again, he's better in the red zone than he is on a stretched field. But again, it's a guy that's familiar with the position. He's played it for years. So, I mean, it couldn't hurt. Put Jalen Mills at corner, put Kayvon Wallace at the other safety position, let him get some reps, because I think the plan is for him kind of let him sit, get a couple reps here and there this year, and then really give him a starting chance next season, talking about Kayvon Wallace. But, I mean, it makes sense because I don't think LeBlanc's going to do well on the outside. He's more of a slot guy, and we thought we had our slot guy in Nikel Roby-Coleman. I mean, he made a great play last Sunday, but, again, it's
still struggled a little.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, at this point, why not? Honestly, I'm getting to that point where it's just like, I don't care. Why not? Might as well.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about the versatility of this defense and having weapons for Jim. Well, right off the bat, you lose Will Parks. That was a huge part. Now you're just seeing more injuries, and it's like, I can't. And I honestly, I was not down with Avonte Maddox on the outside, but that was if Sidney Jones didn't pan out. He didn't. We cut him. We cut Rasul. Now Rasul's doing real well in Carolina. That's great.
It's all about scheme. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it is. And he didn't fit here because this defense kind of sucks. And
he's a better zone corner than he is a man corner.
But Avonte Maddox doesn't fit. So it's like, what the hell, man? And not where they have him. And I think he's a versatile guy we talked about that could have been used in a different role. But instead, we now have him in a role where he didn't work out well going against bigger guys. Now finds himself getting hurt. So now he's out, so we got to rely on somebody else to come in. Hopefully, whoever it is can stop some of these younger receivers. But we got to stop the run game. Still Jeff Wilson. Nick Mullins can, if they get that run established, Jerick McKinnon, he can run and catch out of the backfield. So you got to watch out for both those guys. What's going on, Brian Wilson? I really am afraid, though, because this team hasn't given me hope. I'm not going to sit here and be like, yeah. But I understand that this team plays better when they're pissed off, backs against the wall. But it's like, at this point, we couldn't beat the Washington football team, and we tied. We couldn't beat the Bengals. It's like, come on, man. The 49ers are still a good damn team, even if Nick Mullins is the quarterback, even if, Raheem Mostert's out. This team with Kyle Shanahan is no joke. But, hey, if we can get after him, we had 8 sacks last week. Get after Nick Mullins. That's our only hope. Get after these guys. That was the key last week. But we need the turnovers. Once again, no turnovers. Jake, what the hell? We have 0 turnovers so far this year. Our special teams got one, but our defense has not done crap. What's going on, man?
Yeah, it's just I think it's a lack of returns on your investment. And what I mean by that is you're not seeing much production out of your D-line as I think a lot of us were expecting, which most of the time when you get pressure on the quarterback and sack him a couple of times, it results in turnovers and mistakes. But it's just, I think it's something that it's kind of biting us in the ass right now. I mean, they played well last week. They got 8 sacks last week. To be honest, at least in my opinion, I thought it was a quiet 8 because it was sporadic throughout the game. I think a lot of them were in overtime, if I'm correct. But it's just, and again, this all goes back to Howie Roseman. When you can't draft, you have to sign these guys to high contracts and stuff like that. And it's biting us in the ass right now, plain and simple. You can't draft you cannot draft in the secondary position at all for whatever reason. And they go to somewhere else talking about Rasul Douglas, and he's playing phenomenally. But again, I think that's more of an indictment on Jim Schwartz because he's a better zone corner, plain and simple. He's a better zone corner, and it's a scheme that works well for him. And right now he's thriving in where is he? Carolina now? He's in Carolina. Yeah. So again, it's all comes back at the end of the day. It all comes back to Howie Roseman, plain and simple.
Yes. And that's the thing. It comes back to Howie sucking it up, but also Doug sucking it up, Jim sucking it up. And you talk about Jeffrey being loyal. He's very loyal to Howie. Yep. So maybe you would see Jim and Doug cut, because this is something I was watching the Chiefs game the other day, and I was like, man, what if we would just fire Doug and hire Eric Bieniemy as our head coach?
Oh my
God. Could you imagine this team with that offense? Oh my God. That would be something. Now, I love Doug. I'm not saying I would love him to take him on as an offensive coordinator, but I think Bieniemy has earned his right to be a head coach. So I'm torn, man, but I'm pissed at all of them. It goes out to all of them, man. Tyler here likes Rager. Problem was thinking he'd be number one with a wide receiver rookie year. Well, that's the thing. We talked about it. He wasn't going to be, and that's where it was like, why would you waste a first-round pick? Well, the kid is going to be phenomenal, I believe. But the thing is, you couldn't. You needed Deshaun Jackson to stay healthy. You needed these other guys to be healthy. We were relying on Marquise Goodwin to be here. He's not. So now this kid, it's like, okay, he's going to get increased reps. Well, he had a torn shoulder, comes in. Now he hurts his thumb. It's like, you got to love the toughness because he came back and played that game. But it's like, look, now he's out. But this offense has nothing, and it's very scary. And, talking about the poll, it's like we should not only add a receiver, but it's not going to even do with just one. It's not even going to help, man. It's a huge week for the NFC East. Everybody's been sucking it up. We gotta win, man. And we play a very hard team, and I'm frightened, Jake.
Yeah, and I'm with you. I had us going 0-6 down the stretch, but now we're going 5-1.
Yeah, you gotta throw that tie in there. You can't forget it. I'm gonna hate it all year.
Yeah, exactly. But again, and Harlem Cowboy, I think, can agree with this too. It's just crazy how our division, at least the past 3 years, has just been awful, just completely awful from top to bottom. It's been the NFC least now for going on 3 years, and it's amazing to me. It's absolutely amazing to me.
Yep. And the injuries too, like everything that's just been happening in the last few years. It's like and luckily the division keeps sucking too the whole day. It's like, I don't even know what's happening around me. It's all deja vu. What's going on, Greg? Boarding a flight to San Fran to suit up a wide receiver. Yeah.
Some mellow yellow.
We all could. Me and Jake are going to join you. We're going to go on the road to victory, baby. But here's the thing. It's scary as hell. Like, somebody was telling me, like, oh, Travis Fulgham. Come on, I'm like, don't even. Just please stop talking. I'm going to jump. I can't. I'm losing it because we have nothing. And it's like, you're going to hear it more and more about Carson because, Greg's got a jersey out. Let's get some sales for Greg's jersey.
Let's go.
A2D. Let's see if we can get Philly drinkers to hook us up with some Greg jerseys. What do I think about Miles coming up with the fans? I get it, man. You can want to ride with your team, but we're allowed to criticize. And that's what he's saying is he wants you to be with him. And I get it. We want to be on their side, but we're still going to let you know when you suck, and you've been sucking really bad. So we're going to be on your ass. If you didn't know about Philadelphia, well, I'm here to tell you this is how it goes. So get it together, win some damn games, and then maybe you won't have to hear anything but let's go Birds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's simple, right?
Yeah, you would hope so. But again, it's never simple in Philadelphia, Jimmy. You should know that. It's never simple. It's never easy.
Well, we got a big comment here from Bill.
What's up, Bill?
Final drive was all penalties. It sure was. Deserved to lose the way Wentz plays. Well, he turned it together at pieces with nobody, so I'm not going to hate on him totally, but he has sucked. I mean, for sure. How many times did your players Foles and the Wentz? Jesus Christ. I didn't know this is what you were setting me up for. I didn't know this is what I was walking into.
Yeah, Bill's kind of a knee-jerk.
Nobody likes him. Here's the thing, Bill. Did you like him? Because I was one of the only people that liked him when Carson Wentz got hurt. And I said, I think we could win the Super Bowl with this guy. He knows the system. This is it. Yep. Mm-hmm. We did. A lot of people that were wrong about Nick Foles. Then, after we won, Nick Foles is the greatest quarterback ever. Just hoping that they would get that moment they missed out on. Let me tell you something. Nick Foles is not better than Carson Wentz, and he has never stayed healthier than Carson Wentz. So go ahead and check that out when people say that about Nick Foles. You got to realize, love the guy. I was on board with him. So nothing but love for him. But what I hate to hear is that argument. Carson Wentz is better. Nick Foles would be getting killed in this offense. So we got to add things around him. You can't expect to have the same weapons, like Jake said. Alshon Jeffrey and Deshaun Jackson, old men Rivers. Look, I just really feel, 3 years ago when you had Alshon, that was a great move. And Torrey Smith, okay, yeah. But you got to keep moving. Got to keep adding. We haven't done that. So Howie doesn't know how to draft. So maybe do you see Jeffrey maybe being like, hey, I think you need to bring in somebody else to help you, draft because you suck.
Yeah.
Do you think that's something that could happen? I mean, I don't think see him losing his job either. So you think that's something that could happen? Not corner office, but
I mean, at this point, and I'll preface this: we know Jeffrey Lurie's not an idiot. He's a loyal guy to a fault, to almost his detriment at this point. But he's not an idiot. He sees what's going on. He's very connected with everything that goes on. Him and Howie are like this. They're tight as anything. So again, while they're close, I know Jeff's not an idiot. I think if it goes the way that I think a lot of Eagles fans and a lot of us are thinking it's going to go, to where we might have a 2-3 win season, maybe less, you're going to see a lot of heads roll, to be honest with you. If we go, let's say 1, or no, not 1. I'm not going to be that dramatic. I'll say 2-13-1.
Like someone said earlier, division winners.
And it's, I don't know. What would really cost Howie's head to roll? I have no clue with you. But again, you have to bring someone in here who has draft experience, who knows how to draft personnel. Again, not saying put Howie in the closet, like you said before, Jimmy, not put him in the closet, but let him handle the cap and let him handle contracts and possibly even trades, because he's good at that too. But whenever it comes to drafting, Howie can't do it. So we needed to bring a football guy in here. Look at John Lynch with the 49ers. That's a football guy. And look at how well his draft has gone.
Yeah.
No
Greg
GM
Dawkins
experience.
back.
Yeah, no GM experience prior, and John Lynch has been killing it because he knows football players. Plain and simple, he knows football players.
Oh, my bad, Bill. I see what you're saying here. And that's the thing. You see it all the time that people are talking about Foles, and it's like he is no Wentz. And it's like that. It drives me wild because why would anyone ever compare that? He fit in perfectly, and it was weird the way they used him. And it's like even Carson Wentz isn't a fast quarterback, but when you roll him out, you use him, and you can set up RPOs and do things like that. I really think that's where he excels. 31 points, that's asking a lot, Bill, from this team with absolutely no receivers. But I think if we establish the run, we can still score points. We still have Zach Ertz. They're going to be keying in on him, but they are missing a lot of key pieces. Keller Weatherspoon's out. Richard Sherman, we talked about, they're relying on Jason Verrett, guys that I think if we had receivers, we could beat, but now it's like a fair matchup. So this is going to be a hell of a game, man. I'm literally scared shitless that we're going to lose. And, like you said, I'm even further than that. At this point, I feel deep inside like I used to years ago, where it's, we could literally go 5-10-1 and have a top 10 pick in the draft because this team's just playing terrible. And we could get some wins because this team is a very good team when they play at full health and are playing with energy and whatever. They just don't have anything going right now. And it makes me want to punch myself in the face. And then, honestly, the coach won a Super Bowl. It's dirty to fire him. Well, that's the thing. I don't think you'd fire him. And I talked about this the other day on my show where I think that both these guys get another year, if not more. But I honestly feel that they are on the hot seat in the sense that, they haven't been producing with what they have. And you hear about in the media that there's a disconnect. So I think the thing is that they better figure it out. And if they do, I think we'll be all fine and dandy. But I think the problem might be for all of us fans is we're going to see another year of dysfunction. And you see the draft. It's like, what the hell? Like, we're not helping the team. It's like the coaches and the Jeffrey Lurie and Howie Roseman, let's be real, feel that, getting fancier picks and getting Jalen Hurts as, that's our fancy quarterback. It's like, why are you doing that right now? It makes me very angry. So I don't think they would get rid of him. And I love Doug. Like I said, so I don't think that that's something I would even want to happen. But bringing on someone like Eric Bieniemy as an offensive coordinator, helping him out. You had Frank Reich here. You talk about John DeFilippo. You talk about all these things where that's how we won a Super Bowl. People with Doug Peterson. And you've seen Doug struggle, man, and it's unacceptable, man. So I don't think that I want to see him go anytime soon, but I would like to see this team healthy. I would like to see him have more control of things, maybe. It's scary. What's going on, Prism? Thanks for tuning in, man.
Prism?
I'm hurting inside, Prism. I'm hurting. My birds are they're killing me. Do I think our D-line could eat this week? I do, man, and that was something I talked about earlier. We had 8 sacks last week. I would love to see us try to feast. Josh Sweat, Derek Barnett, Brandon Graham, let's go. Malik Jackson playing lights out. We've been talking about that. And then Javon Hargrave getting a little bit better, a little pump. Fletcher Cox finally doing something. What do you think about that question, Jake? Do you see this defensive line being able to get to Nick Mullins?
I hope so. I sure should hope so. I can't say with confidence that they will. I mean, they had a good game last week, but again, you're going against arguably the worst offensive line in the NFL and the Bengals. So maybe, but again, you're going against Kyle Shanahan, an offensive genius, to where they know what's coming. They're going to get the ball out of Nick Mullins' hands quickly. They're going to establish the run because our run defense, whatever happened to that, I have no clue. We're guaranteed to give up. I think we're averaging 1 rushing touchdown a game. So, I mean, at this point, I mean, you might as well just stick to your strength. If I'm Kyle Shanahan, that's what I'm doing. I'm sticking to the run. I mean, you're getting Deebo Samuel back in a limited capacity. Brandon Ayuk is solid. So, again, it's – and my opinion, I think if Nate Gary is covering George Kittle, then George Kittle's going to go for – he might have a record day. To be honest with you. He might have a record day.
Yeah. Sorry, Bill, drifting out to sea here. I guess I can't read. But yeah, I really think that we're going to have trouble this week. And like you said, Kittle, he could go off on Nate Gary. He can go off on anyone. Because if you cover him with Slay or try to do something, you're going to get hurt elsewhere. Brandon Ayuk is good. Deebo Samuel, I'm really scared. But you talked about establishing the run. Kyle Shanahan is going to do that regardless of who his running backs are. So and as Bill, like I said, I agree. He is no Wentz. So sorry, I read that wrong for you. But trade Derek Barnett, I see here. Do you think that? I mean, we talk about getting to the quarterback. We talk about using these edge rushers. But is that still a problem for you? Do you think we're not doing it enough? Because it's a team like the Bengals. You don't like, woo, this team's so great. Do you still see it as a problem? Because you did mention earlier that Josh Sweat, Look, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. If that happens, that's kind of scary, and it's happening. And we like Josh Sweat in that role as a pass rusher, but this doesn't bode well for Derek Barnett or our defense, really. So what do you think about the edge rushers there?
Again, you're hurt. You're going to hurt yourself when you're getting rid of depth, because at this point, this is what Derek Barnett is. He's a depth piece just because Josh Sweat has to start over him. But again, I'm not going to start trading players and talk about trading players until we know for a fact that this season's over, and then you start doing a quote-unquote fire sale. But again, I'm not ready to ship out on guys just yet. Give me probably after this 3-game stretch, I'll be right there.
Well, I mean, if Derek Barnett has to be in a package where you're getting a wide receiver, I'm all for it. So if he's not producing over Josh Sweat, and I like Josh Sweat a lot, so he's playing better than him, it's going to happen, but I don't feel comfortable with what else is there. So if you're getting rid of him, you better be picking somebody else too up. So I don't want to lose edge rushers. So no, I don't want to. I agree with you, Jake. I don't want to give up yet, but by next year, Derek Barnett's going to cost us $10 million. And if he's not producing, dude, you can't be paying a backup defensive end $10 million. So he might be out the door. I just hope that this team, Cordy Glenn, I saw was mentioned in the comments. I think if they add someone like him to this line, that's another thing that we should do. I think we talk about the offensive and defensive line all the time, helping them out, having depth there. And that's something we didn't do. And now we're getting decimated, dude. Dumbest dude to comment in here, Evercast. Manny, I don't know who you're speaking to, and I apologize to you guys fighting in there, but I'll try to talk about something that doesn't make you lose your minds. Glad to have you here, though, so thanks for tuning in. I hope that what's the record we do on a fire sale? Look, that's the thing. I think maybe a couple more losses, you're going to have to realize that things are going downhill. And
Yeah.
I don't necessarily want more draft picks because Howie hasn't been doing so well. So I said to Jake before the show, do we want to actually do the opposite and get rid of draft picks for a year and just see if we can add players that help this team and be something? Because we play in a crap division, and if you could turn it around, yay. But that's going to take a lot of moves to make that happen, in my opinion.
Yeah,
what do you think, Jake?
I agree with you. But, and like I said, we're probably after this 3-game stretch, if we go 0-5-1, then I think most of us, if not all of us, will be right there to where you start just fire sailing guys. But again, you get all these nice draft picks. You get them in a nice package. You have them all nice and ready to go for. Is the draft still in April with all the COVID stuff, or is it? Did they delay it again, or did they delay it? You know, by chance, or?
I think it's still good to go.
Okay, yeah. So it's good to go regular time. You have, let's say theoretically, after trading certain people, you get like, and we're talking about like a major fire sale. I'm gonna say probably like 17 or so picks. If we get around there, then cool. It looks nice, but again, who's drafting? We have to remember who's drafting these theoretical 17 players. I can't trust Howie Roseman with that much draft capital, and that's why
17 for how many years are you talking here?
No, I'm just saying hypothetically. Say if we trade Fletcher Cox and we just do a complete and utter fire sale.
I don't think that's. I mean, I think they'll restructure some of these guys before they do anything like that. Because I don't think this is a give up on the franchise yet. I know they're trying to get younger, and they've proved that by even going younger at the quarterback that they're young at. So it's pretty crazy to me that, that we're losing like this. But I think what's going to happen is you might see some wins in here, and that is just going to make things more complicated because they're going to be like, oh, we're perfectly fine. Because you heard Doug talk today. I feel great about what's at receiver. And, we just got to fixate on where, we're good at the quarterback. And it's like, what? Yeah. What have you been watching? Because I agree with them, but you got to be utilizing things that you're good at. And, you see Bill's comment here. You got to establish a run, and then that run's really going to help you this week because you're going to really need those backs. And we talked about Boston Scott, Corey Clement not being number 2 backs. Yep. Now you're getting hurt when Miles Sanders can't play through the whole game. So got to use them both. Got to get some screens. And Doug gets pissed when you ask him about this stuff, but it's like, how can we sit here as fans and tell you that that's what you need to take advantage of? And that's especially what you're going to need to do when you have no damn wide receivers. And I shouldn't have to tell you that. We shouldn't have to sit here and say that because it's like, and you talk about the receivers, I think Whiteside got hurt before the game. Again, this guy's always hurt. This guy sucks even when he's playing. It's like, I really don't understand why they're not using anyone right. They need to get back to letting some of these guys be themselves, right? Allow the run game to get set up, and then you can do your RPOs, your play actions, all that fun stuff that you love to do. And you're not seeing much of it. You saw glimpses like we talked about, but I think at this point, Jake, they just need to go all out and just try everything that they can. I mean, I want to cry. And, a 2-step back, that's an interesting idea, Bill. I think it's something we could use because you've seen offenses use it. And I think Doug's a creative guy. And I think that these are guys that you can move out in motion and put them lined up as a receiver. So it's a great idea. And I think you might see it because these guys are going to have to step up and play. We have so very little guys that don't even know the offense really. So scared as hell. I'm scared as hell. And I'm scared as hell for our future as well because it's like, all right, we're just going to forever look at JJ over DK.
Yep.
And it's going to make me cry every single night. Eagles win, Richard says. Win the next 3 games. That's the thing. I got to talk to Derek Gunn the other day. I had him on, and that was awesome. Awesome, last week, whatever it was. Dude, talked about this. We could sneak a few, and then it's going to make things complicated. But, I mean, if you could ride a wave for a little bit, get some momentum, I guess. But, dude, I don't even want to get excited because the end schedule is so brutal. And it's like, this 49ers team could get us excited if we beat them. And we could. This is a beat-up team as well. So we do have a chance. I'm not saying that we don't. It's just I don't want to get my hopes up. I'm so pissed off at the Eagles. And, I'm going to bleed green forever. I'll be right behind this team on Sunday, ready to lose my mind. But I'm a little pissed off. And I think that changes are going to have to be made. And that's with the schemes. That's with play calling, with doing things. And then if you got to bring people in, trade some draft picks, do whatever you got to do. But we're just not doing anything right. And you're 0-2-1. I can't, I hate saying it. Like I really, I saw a thing and they're like, they made this special for us because it didn't say, the 0-3 teams. It just said the winless teams and 0-2-1. There's us. I'm like, I hate you. I hate you in that ugly record. And I remember that when Donovan McNabb didn't know that there were ties.
Yeah. It's like, wait, you can actually tie in this game?
And we tied, and I was so embarrassed. But, I mean, they knew, and they didn't even go for it. So that's more embarrassing than anything. And now I don't even know how to feel inside. I want to just go cry in a corner. But it's not the Doug I know. So it makes me very, very upset inside. But honestly, I'm ready to break things on Sundays, and it's just I don't want that feeling anymore because we won a Super Bowl, and I think that really left us in a place where we know what this team's capable of, right? We know what. Sure, we're missing a lot of pieces, but that's what pisses me off. I'm pissed, Jake. I'm pissed.
No, and rightfully so. A lot of us are, but don't want to make you more pissed off. But Steelers are also on a bye week this week.
I know.
So. And we play that next week too, so we're going to have theoretically a fully healthy Steelers team the following week. So,
dude,
just when you think you can't get anywhere,
dude, I literally was so upset when that came out, and I was like, oh my god, they're going to get a bye before they play us, and now their receivers, oh my god, we're going to get Juju Smith-Schuster, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool. Even Eric Ebron's probably going to eat us alive. I mean, these guys, I can't, man. So someone saying we're going to win the next few games, that's fantastic. Trust me, I want to believe in my birds. I love my birds. Here's the thing. Play this 49ers team, who's still a very good football team. Then we play the Steelers, who are a very good football team with an amazing defense, very good offense. And then you play the Ravens. And I don't care what happened. We're not the Chiefs, okay? We're not going to do that to the Ravens. We can pray to the Lord that we're going to – you think Nate Garry's stopping Mark Andrews? I mean, Eric Ebron?
No.
Bro, we need Will Parks. Let's just go and just give him all kind of – everyone say here, give your thoughts and prayers out to Will Parks tonight because we need you back desperately against some of these tight ends. And he would have been the perfect guy for this defense. And – I hate having to talk about it every week, and I was so upset when he didn't get activated. That was where my mind went when I saw Quez Watkins. I was like, oh, cool. Where the hell is Will Parks?
Yeah.
This just means more Nate Gary. That means more heartache and pain for Eagles fans across the world. This sucks, man. I told you. I didn't even want to. I was like, I'm going to be so pissed off when I come on here next week. And all day I was like, look, I look forward to being pissed off because I know everyone out there is pissed off and we all just want to get it off our chest. And it's like, what are we doing? Not running the ball right. And then you hear, well, Miles Sanders is fatigued. And then he's upset at fans because he's fatigued and they're pissed and everybody. And it's like, what the? Well, dude, are you 100% or not? What are your glutes? Like, okay. And I understand if that's hurting you, that's going to be a hard time. But I don't know what's going on here, Jake. I really don't. Zach Ertz, someone says going off. I could see him having a big game, man. He's going to get covered. They've got some good linebackers. Fred Warner's in there. But I think here's the thing. Zach Ertz always has a chance to have a great game. He's Carson Wentz's favorite. Only problem is they're going to be keying on Zach Ertz because that's all we got, really, with Greg Ward there. So, I don't know, Mike. I'd love to see that. Trust me, brother. But if you're right, I'll love you forever, dude, because – and the Eagles lose, he says. I could see it, man. We haven't stopped anybody, and it's hard to believe. But I'm going to say we do win because I'm a believer, and I think that this team's banged up enough. But I'm not going to get excited about it. I'm not going to be like, yeah, we're winning this week because I don't think that's actually happening. I think that I'm just going to hope for a very close win. We actually get our first turnover this week. I think that we can have a miracle happen, and I think our defense and special teams is going to help us.
Called it a miracle. I love it.
Yeah, and it will be, dude. It's going to be something crazy and that's what we need. That's honestly, Jake, they need to get some kind of spark going.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
We have all right, injuries don't let us have the pieces right now, but these guys come back healthy in the second half of the year, hilarious comment 2-13-1. Get it done, baby. You never know. We could surprise the world. You saw the crappy Giants go and win the Super Bowl that year. Wild as hell. Let's see this defense start clicking. I think that makes me excited to see that they're moving up in the ranks. They are actually playing decent, but we talked about where the holes are. We just need to get healthy, man. We really do. Can't predict the Eagles win until I see Wentz play. And that's the thing. That's what's scary as hell. And what I hope for is Miles Sanders. And that, if you allow Carson Wentz to be himself, those are the keys for me. Mm-hmm. I mean, what do you and that's the thing. I think Jake's with you on that. He's not going to give the Eagles the win until he sees something consistent. And I'm with you on that, man. I get it. I understand that thought process. I just think that this is one of those games out of the 4 or 5 we win this year, if it's a crappy season, that I think, and here's the thing. I've said it. I still think that we could try to turn things around and win the division. But I'm also aware of the darkness. So don't think that I'm just saying it's going to be dark, but let's just go with that scenario. If we only win some games, I think this could be one of them.
Yeah.
They're actually banged up. And if you get Nick Mullins, that's a lot better than Jimmy. So,
yeah. But again, and we're not going to give our score predictions and players of the game till the end of the show. But I can't believe in this team right now. I mean, again, it pains me to say, and I support this team. I love this team to death. I'm a Carson guy. I've been defending Carson for years. But what I've seen and what this team has showed and what Carson showed this year, you can't tell me with a straight face that you're confident in this guy. And now again, can he prove me wrong and step back? And I think again, this is just me being hopeful, but I think it's just a little hiccup here, and then he'll start putting it together. But again,
that's what I'm relying on, and I'm putting my blinders on, Jake. I'm not lying to you.
No, absolutely, and I get it. But at the same time, say theoretically he does put it together with the weapons around him. How much is that going to help? You know what I mean? So
we're gonna need him to start running like he was and pray that he doesn't get hurt. Yeah, we're gonna just need him to be that playmaker with his feet. One of those guys that gets it done no matter what's around him. And he did it last year. This isn't something that's out of the he can't do it. Like we saw it, right? So that's the only thing. I'm just hoping. I'm going on the side of hope right now. But I told you I wasn't going to be too confident in it. I'm like 52-48, okay? We'll go with the Super Bowl number. That's how much confidence I have. I'm right on the edge, man. I'm really bummed out. A tie. I'm almost at a tie inside my heart. Thanks, Eagles. Can you see the Browns beating the Cowboys? Yeah, hell yeah. I saw the Falcons almost beat them. So, yeah. What do you think about that?
I mean, they can, but obviously the Cowboys' defense isn't anything to write home about. It's nothing great. It's nothing special. But at the same time, their offense is potent. They have one of the best offenses in the NFL, and rightfully so. And the Browns, I mean, Baker Mayfield's shown, at least right now, to have a bounce-back year. I say that in quotes because we still have a lot of football left. But the Browns are a good team. They're going to have to rely heavily on Nick Chubb. But I think that they can. They absolutely can. But will they? I don't think so. I think the Cowboys do win it out. I really do.
The Cowboys have a pretty damn good offense. Here's the thing. Browns do have a good defense. Problem with them, banged up. Denzel Ward banged up. They're banged up. Everybody, see, it's not just us.
Everyone, they're banged up. Yep.
So the Cowboys are coming out swinging. I agree with you. Browns are still a good team, but dude, I hate it that the Cowboys are good. I hate having to even say it, but they are. And their defense is a little banged up. Woozier. If they get healthy, they're still a good team. So watch out for them. But the Browns, man, wouldn't it be nice? We talk about OBJ, but I would take Jarvis Landry in a heartbeat. I love that guy.
So do I.
I would love to see something like that because you see some things going on there, even with the Browns winning a game. I think that you could see them moving on because they've got some good receivers, right? So give me some Jarvis Landry. What would you think about that?
I mean, I'd go for Jarvis Landry, but I think with how the team's structured right now, I think before anything, they move on from Odell before they move on from Landry. Just because, again, I don't think Odell's really an issue, but just his character and his personality and how he is, it garners a lot of attention. So I think when you bring in young guys and you're starting to kind of rebuild in a sense, you have some of the key pieces. If Baker plays well, you have your cornerstone of your franchise right there. I think that's how they view Myles Garrett and Jarvis Landry as well, to kind of bring up the young guys and be faces of the franchise. So I think it's more realistic to say the Browns are more willing to move on from Odell than they are Jarvis Landry. But again, I'd be all for having Jarvis Landry. I love Jarvis Landry, but again,
I'm with you.
I think it's just how the franchise views him, if that makes sense.
No, I agree with you. That's their guy that I think they would keep as well. And, I saw Jay made a couple comments about cutting Jeffrey and Jackson. That's going to happen next year. After this year, it's going to help because it's not going to help us right now. So we'll do it after this year, and we'll see another year of praying to the Lord. We get some of these nice free agents, and we get some of these guys in the draft. So it's going to get so scary that I'm not doing this yet, but we might literally get to a point where I'm not going to answer this question for you, but I will answer it for you, Don. If we had a top 10 pick, I'm not sure right now what our biggest hole is. We have plenty of them, but Jamar Chase, I know you'll love that answer, Jake, but that would be somebody I would cream everywhere. I just literally love that guy. And I think that would be the weapon we talk about. So if we're going to fail, let's fail big, baby.
He's your number one from day one. At that point, he's your number one right there.
Could you imagine him and Rager?
And that's what I'm saying. You have your young cornerstone wide receiver. Say theoretically it pans out, then I think it's just one of those things to where it can work out. And I think Jamar Chase is actually better than Justin Jefferson. That's just me, but I think he has all the tools to be a solid number one wide receiver in this league if we do get him. But knowing the Eagles, we won't.
Bro, we would take a 37-year-old guy that used to star on Baywatch and start him at left guard. Exactly. At this point, Howie Roseman's going to get some sweet chin music from me, and I can't take it anymore. Like, I'm literally to the point where I'm hurt. I think Tom might be joining us here. Not sure if he's in. Hey, what's going on, my man?
You're not sure if I'm in? What's up? What's up, boys? What's up?
Going through the pain, bro.
No more, man. I'm done on the cricket game. So, for the time being, I've moved locations until I get the spray done. So we're back, baby. We're back. Couple of
cricket wars.
Lost tonight,
love it,
boys, but they flat out competed. So, got some energy, and let's talk about it. Don't mind if I turn my cam off. I'm going to be eating a little bit. Guy's hungry. So okay. I'm here. So bring it to me. Whatever you boys got.
Get it, man. Palatero says, Tom, that you need to be helping at GM. Make sure you hire us as your staff. We'll get it done. I literally don't know what's happening anymore with this team. We talk about, we don't get paid for this, dude, but yet we'll sit here and tell you, breaking down some of these guys would be perfect. And how does Howie Roseman sit there? Nah, you know what? A quarterback. How are you getting paid that much money to pass on such good? And, even if you're going to pick Rager, don't you go back? Like, couldn't you have traded back to like 28? I think that was with the Ravens. Make a move there, let them trade. Maybe they were worried and they could have got Patrick Queen there. We could have moved back, establish something in the second to move up, get someone like T. Higgins, right? I was going to ask Tom that. That's kind of where I was going. But, well, didn't we talk about this last week, Jake? T. Higgins at wide receiver.
I love T.
And we talked about Logan Wilson and Akeem Davis-Gaither, about the fact that we have Sean Bradley, Davian Taylor not playing defense, while the Bengals, the team we're about to face, have Akeem Davis-Gaither and Logan Wilson fucking playing on their defense. So now we got Nate Gary. Why can't we draft? Tom, I know you.
Can you guys even hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Now I can hear you.
Like, I don't know. I lost you guys last time, so I don't know. I'm back now.
Tell us what you're thinking about. I mean, we were in the middle of talking about just these guys were rolling in questions in the comments here. How he's been drafted, man. Like, what's happening here? It's just a complete shit show, man. Just pissed.
Well, that's what. Let's talk about it a little bit. I mean, the general manager knows that linebacker is a position in need for this football team. And in the third round, he takes Davion Taylor. He came sniff the football field, right? And then people out there want to tell me, well, he's a project. Well, dude, I'm not in the position to be projected in the third round. So, listen, Nate Gary's a half an inch away from every football thrown. You know what I mean? So it's like guys right there just can't make a play. And he's not good enough to start. I mean, this is a guy who's like a program player, right? He's one of them program guys that stick around for 8 years, but a good special teamer.
Sendejo.
Yeah, good special teamers. Hey, if they got to come in on a third down once in a while and play some nickel for you, he's able to do it. in limited roles, like the Josh Sweat conversation. In limited roles, guy can be productive. Nate Gary in limited roles over his career has been a productive guy in limited roles. But you say, okay, now you're going to be my starting middle linebacker? I mean, listen, you just can't overlook positions, right? You overlook the wide receiver position. Whatever anybody wants to tell me, you overlook it. You overlook the linebacker position. Well, where's the two biggest issues on this fucking football team? What are they? The two positions that you overlook or can't get right. That's what it is. As Jerry Judy's mossing dudes. Jerry Judy's mossing dudes while we drafted a gadget. I'm just being real. Jalen Reagor might be the greatest wide receiver of all time. I don't know. But I know the guy who picks him, I don't trust worth a lick. So that's my rant on that.
Well, that's the thing. You look at Jerry Jeudy, you look at CeeDee Lamb, you look at Justin Jefferson. These guys are tearing it up. Me and Jake were laughing about it. We're like, would these guys even have legs if they were on the Philadelphia Eagles? We can't take care of anybody. So it's sad as hell. But you can't trust anything how he does. So it's like, dear God, man. But why not last year get DK Metcalf? I can't get over it. I just want to punch myself in the face, which go to sleep because.
Well, listen, you missed it. You missed it. Okay.
And then again, sure.
No, go ahead, Jamie. I'm just not. I wasn't like Mr. DK Metcalf coming out of the draft either. Like I thought he had some work to do, but he was a specimen. But again.
But at that point,
you went to the Pac-12 and it looks like you got burned.
Yep. And I was just going to add in that Arcega-Whiteside is somebody that at that point in the draft, 57. It's like DK Metcalf also to me had some issues, but at that point you got to take him. And then this year. I think you made a mistake again, because if you want to get over it and say, okay, last year was last year, this year you didn't add anyone in free agency, then you don't add an X receiver, somebody that could be Carson Wentz true number one. You add another guy that is going to be a Z receiver that takes a little time. Okay, we thought we had Goodwin and Jackson to help him come along. The problem is you were going to rely on Jeffrey and JJ Arcega-Whiteside. No, you needed to trade back and then get Reagor. And then you needed to move up in the second and get someone like T. Higgins, someone that kicked our ass, someone we talked about last week, Tom. And here we are. So this year he didn't do it either. So why are we not getting Carson Wentz weapons? And we're still here talking about getting Jalen Hurts. I don't know if Tom heard me there, but
I wish I knew, Jimmy. You know what I mean? Sorry, I was trying to log into the Facebook on my desktop so I can see everything.
No, you're fine. In the beginning of the show, I was trying to share mine too.
I wish I knew. Like, you look at it and you're like, okay, like, you're trying to go for a possession guy there. That didn't work out for you. And then you go back into the slot almost, right? And like, I know people want to tell me like, oh, like Justin Jefferson, he didn't play well on the outside. Okay, well, he had 100 catches. So I would assume that at least 40 or 50 of them were probably on the outside, right? So I'm just so sick and tired of people like want to reach. And our fan base does it too. Like, if you just want to be safe with the 17th pick, you take Jefferson. If you want to be safe, right? If you want to try to get a home run, right? And be the smartest guy in the room, well, then you take a shot on Jalen Reagor, right? But in your position of your track record right there, I got to take the most productive guy in the biggest conference in college football. It's freaking simple, and it's in front of your face, and you decide to go another direction. So as much as I want these guys to be successful, I can't trust him anymore.
Yeah, it's true. And what really pisses us off, and I know this pisses you off the most, Tom, is the fact that this year – you could have, as much as I could sit here and say Reagor, but I'm right there with you. I said, dude, you give me Jerry Jeudy, I'll jump off. You give me CeeDee Lamb. Oh, yeah. Either of those two guys, all you had to do was move up. And I know the Cowboys probably wouldn't have done it with you, but the Falcons, and you could have had yourself that. But no, you needed that second round pick. So here we are back again. Jalen Hurts. So you needed that. And Reagor, who's banged up now, and obviously that's not something you expect. But the thing is, he wasn't even supposed to produce right away. And that's kind of scary to think that you drafted someone that you didn't want to come in right away, like Jerry Jeudy can.
Yeah.
Hey, let's look at the Cowboys for a second, right? You look at them, they're going to have three wide receivers. They have three wide receivers that are on pace for over 1,000 yards. Three wide receivers. Well, right now, we don't even have one on pace for 500. So sit on that for a minute.
Here we go again, Tom. And we were just talking about the Cowboys before you joined in, man. It's rough watching them. People can talk about, they've struggled and this, that. I don't care. They're still a dominant team, and they look better than we do, and they're in a better position. I'd feel a lot better as a Cowboys fan where I'm at. I wouldn't feel better as a person if I were a Cowboys fan, because clearly that sucks to be a Cowboys fan. But, just saying, as an Eagles fan, we're in a very rough spot, and at least they have a lot of things going. Their quarterback isn't, we're questioning, is he the future? And we just gave him a contract. They really don't have to question that, and they won't give him a contract. So thank God Jerry Jones is there. But we're dealing with our own problems here. We're hurting inside. So Tom, we see it. They got 3 receivers. Why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you give Carson Wentz weapons? And it's a question we have to ask ourselves every week. And I hate it. I don't even want to talk about it. I don't. But it's the questions that everybody talks about every week. And we're trying to get to you guys and talk about what you want to. And it drives me mad. It really does. I'm losing my mind on Bill earlier, thinking he's talking about Foles. I can't. There's people attacking me. I literally get private messages of people they're offended. Look, I just want to tell you about Foles. And they literally just try to give me these stats where I'm like, dude, don't ever message me again. Don't you send your rhetoric to me. Biased information, man.
Yeah, listen, I will always love Nick Foles. And I love Nick Foles before he was Nick Foles, right? Air quote.
Yeah.
So I've been Uncle Nick for a long time here. And that's never going to change. Right. The reason he wears thin on me is because people just had the whole big dick Nick in their mouth. So that's where it runs. It was just all right, dude, just stop talking about it. But like Nick Foles in his run here, right? He had a healthy Alshon.
Yeah.
He had a healthy Torrey Smith. He had a healthy Nelson Aguilar, who had the best overall year of his career. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He had
Burton and Ertz.
He had Burton and Ertz. He had a great running game. All things that we don't have. We don't have. Listen, I am done making excuses for my franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of making excuses for professionals. Okay? But I also have to be a realist and say, who the hell's getting it done with these guys? Somebody tell me and riddle me around the league. Who the hell outside of maybe freaking Lamar Jackson, because he's a gadget, right? Mm-hmm. And can make something out of nothing. Who's playing with these guys? You're telling me Mahomes is putting up the numbers he put up in Kansas City with these guys? Okay, maybe Russell Wilson could get it done, right? Because he's just such a playmaker. But who out there?
Exactly.
Like Cam maybe because he can run. Outside guys who can run and make plays on their own. Who's thrown to these guys? Do we think Mahomes comes in and JJ Arcega-Whiteside just all of a sudden can play? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to figure out here because I don't know. I don't know if it's on the quarterback. I don't know if it's on the play calling. I don't know if it's on the player development. I don't know if it's on the guy drafting the guy. I don't know. And for the first time in my life watching sports, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I don't know.
You're right.
Sorry, Jimmy. I just don't know how all of a sudden this guy started reaching on every single solitary pick he's had in his tenure here. All of a sudden, over the last 4 or 5 years, it's been reach city. If you really look at it, Derek Burnett made a big play, dude. But go look at the board on the rest of that first round. That what was available that year. Go look on the board on what was available just on Andre Dillard. I think the year you traded for Dallas Goedert, isn't that the year you traded your pick to Baltimore and they took Lamar Jackson?
Jackson, yep.
I'm not saying I want Lamar Jackson, but if you were Uncle Quarterback Factory, then why don't you take him?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Great point.
Jimmy, I don't want him. Jake, I don't want him. You understand what I'm saying to you guys? I'm just saying.
I hear what you're saying, though.
If you're going to be the factory and take the best player on the board, okay, so then you draft Dallas Goedert. Oh, boom, he got a broken foot. If there's something, it's I know people have said it, and I've always joked around about it, and I was like, okay, stop. But we almost are cursed injury-wise for winning the Super Bowl. Since we've won the Super Bowl, and even that year, no team in the NFL has had more injuries in certain positions than us. When you talk about the cornerback position and you talk about the wide receiver position, nobody's had more injuries at them positions than us. Nobody. So, I ain't talking about the offensive line. I'm just talking about your skill positions on both sides, corners, wide receivers. It's a walking wounded. So, I don't know what this guy's supposed to do this week. Pull a rabbit out of his hat. Is he Michael Jordan? Is he just going to go and dominate at the quarterback position with nobody out there against a damn good defense? I don't know, guys. I'm lost. I'm truly lost with this football team right now.
Me too, Tom. I said there's literally the only glimmer of hope is the fact that the injury gods are not on their side as well. And even still so, they're still a damn good team with a coach that knows what he's doing right now. And he knows how to run the damn ball down our throat. So, we're giving up 106 yards per game. And this team will pound the rock on you. So I'm scared as hell. I'm not going to lie to you. I think that even with the injuries, we're cruising for a bruising. But, I think if there's any team we could beat in the next 3 games with this tough schedule, it could be this team. So I'm giving them about a 52% chance of feeling hopeful for my team. But deep down inside, I'm saying that because I'm hoping to put good juju in the air. But when I go to bed at night, I'm crying. I'm going to be real with you.
Listen, I don't blame you. I'll say
I'm
one
right
thing.
there with you.
I'll say one thing. I'm right there with you too. I'll say one thing to what you just said. Like, they run the football, right? Well, okay. Kyle Shanahan's a choker, in my opinion. But, what did he do? He knows he's a run-heavy offense. He likes to run the football a lot. So what did he do? He went out and got a bunch of running backs. You know what I mean? So at the end of the day, he valued the position and got a bunch of running backs. Like Doug usually runs the ball at some point. But, I mean, like, again, who's he running the ball with? The whole thing's just a mess from the top. But I do say one thing this weekend, though, right? Like, this has to be a weekend where your defense wins you a football game.
Yep.
They haven't even came close to winning you one all year. And there's a lot of money over there. Okay? So this has to be turnover city. This has to make Mr. Mullins look like a backup. Like, you got to go make a guy look like a backup quarterback this Sunday, and you can win this game. That's the only chance they have of winning this game is probably they have to have a special teams turnover. They got to get 2 defensive turnovers. Like, they got to win the game on the road. You got to win games on the road by taking the ball away, getting off the field, the whole routine, getting off the field on 3rd down. But really, you got to make plays. You got to have some takeaways, right? And you got to put your offense in some good field position where like, hey, they can put up 7. And our little run last year over the last 4 games, when our offense had nothing around besides Miles and Ertz and Goddard, right? But there was nothing on the outside. What did we do well? Well, defensively, we got stops. Defensively, we got off the field. Defensively, we made some plays. You know what I mean? So that's the difference maker. So you just got to hope this defense can keep us in the game and maybe like somehow get us a lead. Like when's the team going to have a first possession fumble with us, right? Where we get the ball at their 30, like the Rams did. Like LA did. Like they get the ball at their 30 and then boom, you know what I mean? They're up 7-0. Like, when are we going to get that? So like one of these guys that have played well last Sunday, but they got to take it up on another level this week. So I don't know.
No, Tom, that's great, because before you joined us, that's exactly what Jake laughed at me a little bit, because I said, this is, what did I call it? A miracle, right?
Yeah.
When you laughed at me, I said, we need a miracle here, Jake. We need this defense to step up and actually get turnovers, because the special teams is the only, they got us 1 turnover. Defense, 0 so far this year. So this needs to be that miracle game where the only way we win, I'm 100% with you, Tom, get some damn turnovers. Let's get, we had 8 sacks last week. Well, let's attack these guys. They've got lots of injuries too. So if you don't want to get tore up with these good receivers, Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk, George Kittle's back. It might be rough, guys, but there's a tiny bit of hope, I guess. What do you think about the turnover battle, Jake?
Yeah, I mean, they'd be nice. I like a couple turnovers.
We're -7 right now in the league, right?
Sounds about right.
Which makes you 0-1. Sorry.
Yeah.
Which makes you 0-1.
Yeah, exactly.
Pathetic.
I mean, unless Darius Slay can get you 3 interceptions, then that's he's the only person I can lean my hat on this defense. He's the only person I can rely on right now. And I'll give a little bit to Brandon Graham, because Brandon Graham has stepped up. But everyone else, it's just.
Can Malik Jackson catch?
I don't think so.
Drop it back.
Fletcher played well. Fletcher played well last Sunday.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Malik Jackson's been lights out.
Malik's played well. I mean, we got gashed on the run game by the Rams, but I think we settled down. We settled down more last week. I thought we did a better job in the run game. But this is a week where you got to win. You got to win by your strength, right? So what's our strength? It's supposedly stopping the run game. I mean, supposedly that's what we do well. I don't know. We're gonna find out real soon if that's what we really do well. But that's what we have to. That's where it all starts this weekend. I mean, you gotta get stopped. You gotta get stops on 1st down. You know what I mean? You got to hold them under 100 yards rushing. You just got to outplay them defensively, and then just hope that I know we got Jerry Rice on this roster with John Hightower and Quez Watkins. I mean, to the Sanders, it's Jerry Rice and Jerry Rice's cousin, and You
Yeah,
know,
Gary Rice.
and I don't even know if Quez is playing, but I mean, it looks like Hightower will probably play. But you're talking about Greg Ward and Hightower. I mean, geez, God. I mean, you got to hope a 5th-round pick now comes out and performs. Like, it's just a lot, dude. It's a lot offensively, and you got to really rely on your run game. And so what? Like, if Corey Clement has touched the ball too many times, then it is what it is. But I mean, this is a week where you gotta pound the football and establish the run game and feed off of some play action. You know, I would RPO it. I would design rollout it. I mean, I would do all these things this week because the only chance you have of competing and maybe stealing a game because it's the fucking NFL, and we just know how the NFL goes.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're right, and that's something we talked about. And on the same token, Mike talks about they know that we need to establish that run, but we have to hope that our line, which it has been, helps Miles Sanders get going. But we have to have guys like Boston Scott and Corey Clement step up. So when they come in, they need to produce. This line needs to help them out, and it sucks. You know, we don't want to get turned one-dimensional, but if we can help Carson Wentz by letting him be himself to just make some of these plays that he makes, I think that's our only key to success this week, because if you look at what we've done in the pocket, even with decent wide receivers, it failed. So time to switch it on up, boys. Time to see some Jalen Hurts doing whatever trickery you can do. I don't care. Greg Ward throwing the ball, maybe a double end around with both those guys. Let's see it, Doug. Bring your balls back, please, because you punted at the end of a game, and I'm never going to forget that, man. No. So this week, I better see for a guy that before halftime against the Patriots in a Super Bowl and writes a book called Fearless, I expected a lot much more.
Well, how about this, guys? I mean, when is this football team? And I'll be on camera here in a minute and just chewing some food and settle in. But when you're talking about you're talking about a football team that used to make great second half adjustments, even like without Frank Reich.
Yes.
Like last year, we started a game slow, but our second half adjustments were phenomenal, right? Well, this year, I don't know, nothing's good. So, like, where are the second half adjustments that in 2018 and 2019 we did so well with? Where the frig are they at? Where did they go? That's I ask you, but Jim, like, is there back to what Jimmy was asking you, like? Is there a way that we could take the ball away 3 times and not turn the ball over ourselves?
I mean, there's a bunch of ways you can do it, but you have to get creative and you have to open the playbook on both sides, offensively and defensively. You have to give these guys something that the league hasn't seen before, or at least from the Eagles, I should say. But they have to get creative. They have to open up. And I said it last week, too. They have to open up the playbook because you're in a desperate situation right now. Because if we don't win Sunday, boys, to be honest with you, I don't see this 3-game stretch being quite pleasant because the Steelers are on a bye week, like I touched on earlier, and then we have the Baltimore Ravens. So,
yeah, I'll tell you what, Jake, I'll be excited because it'll be time to talk. Hey, who's available next year in the draft? What pick are we getting now? No, I'm not going to be excited. I'll be furious, to be honest with you. But I saw a couple of questions asked here by Prism. Nikel Roby-Coleman has been playing pretty terrible, so we need him to step up. We need Darius to step up. We need a lot of guys to step it up. Kayvon Wallace, another one that Prism had mentioned. I think if we have to move Jalen Mills to corner, I'd be interested to hear what you think about that, Tom. Moving Jalen to corner, maybe in the red zone, but we don't have much with Trevor Williams out, Avonte Maddox out. We're really thin, and we know Darius Slay's good, but we don't have anything else, so I'm kind of scared. What do you think is going to happen with the secondary there? Do you see Nikel Roby-Coleman back next year? I think so if this defense starts gelling better.
Well, listen, I don't even want to get into that yet because I'm so scared to even talk next year into any bit of existence. But
I know.
I will say, I'll start with Jalen. Okay, so I'll start with Jalen. Your first question, and I would say unless a bunch of dudes were that down and you're that depleted, he doesn't move. Okay, because on Sunday I watched Kayvon Wallace on the goal line, and it happens to guys. But I watched him absolutely get blown up on a touchdown. Blown up. Okay? Like, hey, welcome to the NFL, Rook. And so everybody that wanted to Brian Dawkins, Kayvon Wallace, I just want to tell you that I don't ever remember Brian Dawkins getting pancaked. So we can slow down. We can slow down on expectations a little bit. Like expect him to hopefully be a real good safety, and it's like a real good one. You know what I mean? You don't have to be Brian Dawkins, dude. You just gotta. Can you just be a really good one? You probably still can. Like I'm not talking about a pancake block equaling your career. I'm just making a point. Like just calm down on guys. Like we gotta calm down on guys, and not to you, Jimmy. I'm talking about like who's going back there then. If he moves, if he moves now corner, right now, who's going back at safety?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So is it Wallace? You're that comfortable with them? We're putting a rookie back there. Okay, fine. Maybe a 4th round pick. I know he's projected to go a little higher, but still a 4th round pick. So to Jalen comment, I try to leave him there at safety as long as I can, and hopefully he gets more comfortable there, right? And Roby Coleman's got to play better, but he's had a history of playing, of being a good corner before. So I gotta believe that maybe he'll find it a little bit. But your big question mark defensively, obviously, is the linebacker and the other corner. So do you think? So the question becomes, okay, who's better? Whoever's going to play the other outside corner or Kevon Wallace? Make sense? So that's
what I'm saying.
Yeah, so that's how I guess you can look at it. But if it's Trevor Williams, I know
he's out.
I know he's out this week. I'm just saying if it is Trevor Williams played better than Avonte Maddox did on Sunday.
Yeah.
So it's not even close. So now who is it? So who is it now? LeBlanc? Is LeBlanc your
That's the thing.
guy?
I think he should be until the red zone.
Well, you can go.
Would you agree with that?
I think in the red zone you can go put Jalen a corner and different
That's
spots.
my question, really. I don't like him out there anywhere else.
No, I mean he's a great red zone corner. I mean that was like his bread and butter. I mean that's why that's one of the reasons him and Darby were so good, because they were both big physical guys that would get physical when you down the goal line. You know what I mean? So that's they got burned a lot, but down in the 20, man, when the field shortened, they could play. So I don't know, man. I mean LeBlanc, okay, so who's going to pick on him? That's the question. Like, is he going to get picked on? I don't know. I just need to see more. I'm just so surprised because it was the top 10 defense. Like, it was a projected top 10 defense, and the holes that are there are that bad. So when you talk about your other corner, who you release Sidney Jones, you release Rasul Douglas, whatever the case, right? You release all these guys, and Avonte Maddox, who I told people don't stop with him playing the outside, dude. He's an inside guy, but people didn't want to listen. And if
nobody wanted to listen.
All my tape junkies, go watch tape for the first 3 weeks. Dudes are wide open against them. That's not good. Okay, so long story short, on that is you let these guys go, and these are now your options, and it's been exposed. So your decision making has now been exposed on your outside. Okay, so now you look at your linebacker position. Well, same thing. You have a guy retire on you who's probably your best player at the linebacker position. He retires on you, and now you're stuck with you get caught with your pants down again, and you have no solution for it. So them two positions is why this defense honestly has gotten gashed at times, or hasn't looked as stellar as we expected, because of them two positions. I mean, I don't think it's on Rodney McLeod and Jalen Mills and Darius Slay. I think Coleman's got beat a lot, which isn't good. But the defensive lines played well for the most part, outside of getting smoked on the ground against the Rams. So, you know what I'm saying? Like it's just. You're just these positions away from me, in my opinion, being so successful. Like you're a top 5 wide receiver. Like the fact that New England's in conversations, I think it was for Julio Jones. Like, how are we not in conversations?
Yeah.
Like how the hell are we not in conversations? I don't care how old he is right now. We're trying to win this year, so figure it out next year. You know what I mean?
You suck at drafting.
Figure it out next year. But like I'm all in on a guy like Julio Jones. Like, how can you not be?
Yeah.
Are you trying to win a division? Like putting Julio Jones on this team, does that not make us a contender for the division again? I think it does. So it's how big of a brass set do you want to have to make a move to address these spots? Yeah. Sorry, I'm just talking. I'm enjoying it.
No. So you would agree to the pull then? Because that's what we were talking about, adding a big name. We need to. You suck at drafting. Get rid of the picks, man. This isn't the Sixers. We're not loading up on 37 picks so we could draft 14 centers.
Yeah.
I mean. So the poll is.
I mean, it's just we should add a receiver, but honestly, I think we need to add multiple. Words so barren.
Well, so you would say, so the poll is: would you add a big name?
Yes. Before
the deadline, absolutely. I would trade for a big name tomorrow,
like we did with running back, right?
Or yesterday. Like I would honestly, I would try to get creative and I would call Atlanta, and I'd be shopping for more than just Julio Jones. So like I'm shopping there. Like you guys can't win games. You're in a different position right now. Like I'm shopping for your whole team. Like who's available? Like would you give me Julio and Calvin for freaking what do you want? What do you want?
Yeah.
What do you want? What do you want for both of them? Like, you want a first and a 3 and maybe a 5, or what do you want? You know, what do you want? What do you
I think
want?
Ridley's their future, so they might give up Julio, dude. I mean, that'd be great. Maybe Russell Gage. That's a great idea.
You know, anybody in their backfield. You know, maybe look at some of their pass rushers on defense. Maybe look at their linebacker position and say you look in the trade. You know, 2 guys. So you just got to look at some of these teams that you think are definitely out of it, and now you got to get creative and try to go get their best players. But again, you're so much over the cap. Can you even pull this crap off for next year? You know, so it's the whole thing's a mess. The whole thing is a flat out mess. Like that's why I would have to consider, like, I don't even want to trade Ertz, but like I gotta figure some things out. I gotta figure out a way to like get my quarterback, like, guys who get big time separation. You know what I mean? Like nobody on this roster wide receiver wise gets big time separation.
Yep.
And our tight ends, like, Ertz gets open, but like he's a tight end. You know what I'm saying? So like the position is important, but when am I don't know. We can have this conversation for 42 hours on why there's no skill position players on the outside. And you can tell me, like, oh, they all got hurt, Tom. But even when they were all there, like, we were that overly impressed by a bunch of dudes who can do the same thing. Like, okay, people tell me Kansas City. Well, Sammy Watkins can do different things than Tyreek Hill, so shut up. You know what I mean? So their receivers are different. They're not
That's
all
an X receiver.
they're not. Yeah, they're not all the same guy. They're not all the same guy. You know, so
why not give Carson the same?
Yeah, well, they tried to, but in the wrong way, because they were banking so much that, oh, JJ's more comfortable. Here we go. He'll be able to come in and be productive and maybe catch 45, 50 balls for us. Well, guess what? I mean, this is what you're doing. So you thought he was going to be that other guy that could do some things. Well, he isn't, right? Deshaun Jackson is Deshaun Jackson, which makes it a wasted pick. And having no Alshon that you're paying a ton of money to is a killer. And then you look at, like, okay, your number 1 pick is out for an extended period of time. Like, here we go. It's a mess.
Yeah.
It's a mess.
And that's the thing. It's such a mess, Tom, that like we could sit here and talk about, Jacob mentioned OBJ, you mentioned Julio. Thing is, it's like, well, look at the cap mess we're in. Thanks, Howie. How is this even possible? You have to rely on young guys because we have to give out small contracts, because if you want to make any moves, you're going to have to get rid of some of these players. So you might see an overhaul quick. And thing is, you suck at drafting. So why not just give up some of these picks next year, bring in a guy like Julio if you can, or something, when you cut Alshon, Deshaun, when you cut so many people and trade people away, maybe you give yourself some room and make some moves, dude, because it's time to start giving Carson some weapons, or you paid him for no reason. And that's scary as hell. And you can't trade him. You can't trade him for the next couple of years. You have him on this team for the next couple of years because the dead money would destroy you. So it's not going to happen. Maybe he restructures next year. That would help us. But damn, man, we're in a scary place. Lions might win Fletch. I don't know. That's one of those guys we're real loyal to, man. You got to realize that we're keeping Matt Collins. I definitely think that we're going to keep Fletcher Cox around. He's going to have to suck a little bit more. He had a great week last week, so not concerned with him. We needed Malik Jackson and Javon Hargrave to really step it up. Oh, well, Malik's been, but Javon Hargrave to come in and have that whole trio just really going. Ridgeway coming in here and there. But, dude, if they get going, the edge rushers get better. We need that to happen. We need to create turnovers against this 49ers team this week. They've got backups playing too, but Jeff Wilson's a good back. Jerick McKinnon, catch out of the backfield. You talk about not just George Kittle kicking our ass, but Jerick McKinnon could come out. That's a speedster. This dude could burn us out of the backfield. You know that the Eagles linebackers and safeties have been having a good time. So that's another one. We got to shut their run game down, dude. So it's the same thing. I see a comment here that Julio can't be traded. Yeah, I mean, just throwing out names, I think Tom's just saying, why not get him a receiver? Why couldn't we get DeAndre Hopkins this year? Why can't we trade a second-round pick when you use it on a quarterback to go up and get a CeeDee Lamb? It baffles me. It truly, truly baffles me. Pisses me off, to be real with you.
Yeah. And like I was talking about earlier, Jimmy, even say theoretically we do trade all our guys or some of our guys, some of our key pieces. I don't trust Harry Roseman with all these draft picks.
Yeah.
So damned if you do, damned if you don't. Pretty much, you're in a corner. You're stuck.
Dude, seriously, this guy, he makes gourmet dinners for his mom. That's his, best trait in the draft. You're like, what the fuck? I just don't understand. We talked about him, little La Shrimp or whatever we were calling him. I'll beat his ass at this point. Like, I'm tired of it. It just, we talked about the holes that need to be fixed. And it's not just weapons that you're showing Carson you don't care. You knew you had some older guys on the line. You knew you needed some depth there. And I like Driscoll. I did. I like the pick, but you needed a lot more than that. And you talked about Cushenberry. You talk about Christian Fulton as a number 2 on this team. You talk about J.K. Dobbins as a running back with Miles Sanders. How many names could we go? Logan Wilson as a linebacker we could use that intercepted Carson Wentz right away at the game, and I wanted to punch myself. This sucks. And Howie Roseman, I mean, as much as we say we blame everyone, I'm really tired of Howie Roseman. And I was a huge fan, and I'm like, I can't anymore, dude. Like, every time I hear his name, I'm pissed.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I think we are. How can you not be at this point?
Yeah.
Nothing. You haven't upgraded the team. Like we talked about the other night. You were supposed to retool. As you were going. This was like a retool situation, and you didn't do that. So that's a concerning thing. At least it looks like right now you didn't, because all your air quote picks aren't really contributors. Mm-hmm. So where do you go from here?
Yeah, that's the thing, because Carson's been playing bad. It's like, is it the line? Is it the receivers? Sometimes the line's good. Sometimes the receivers are good throughout this year, where it's like, what the hell? But then Carson Wentz just straight out bad. And it's like, what the, like, I don't understand it. And it's truly like we talk about, are the coaches really just, is there too many coaches in this room that are just in his ear where he just is getting too much, and now he's not listening? That's the report, that he's just like, F you, changing the plays. And you would hope by year 5 it was a relationship where Doug's like, oh, good, he's changing the play. He sees something out there that I don't see, and trust in him. Instead, it's and just change it. Is there any hope here, guys? Because
is there hope for him to get better? Is there hope for Carson to rebound?
Yeah.
So that's really the question at hand. I mean, shit, why not?
I think it relies on Howie, right? He has to put the right things around him.
I mean, he has to help with it, and then he has to become more decisive and more trusting as well. Yeah. Which is hard when you don't have anybody out there. So, like, you're trying to gain a rapport with guys, especially since you lost most of your offseason with dudes. So now you're trying to gain that rapport, and you got guys in and out. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, that's not an excuse. That's the facts of it. But listen, at the end of the day, now he's got to be the leader, and he's got to figure it out. This is a guy who obviously is allowed to call plays at the line of scrimmage. So we talk about being pass happy sometimes, and we automatically go put that on Doug, right? So many people say, oh, well, Doug. Well, remember who changes the play calls at the line. So it's something he's seeing. So he's seeing different things out there that makes him feel like the right time to throw the football. And I want to trust that in my quarterback. But, your offensive line isn't as good either. So you don't want to throw the ball too much because you're going to get banged up. So it's like everything's a catch-22 with this football team. Everything is a catch-22. Yeah. You don't want Miles to get hurt. So how many times are you going to give him the rock? It's depressing because this isn't what it was supposed to be.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Tom, we talked about it. If you had a second running back, a guy that you could rely on, that would have made this run game much better. And sure, we didn't even know about the injury, but we said if something like that happened, but both of them together, you look at Chubb and Hunt, the Eagles could have, don't you remember Jay Ajayi and LeGarrette Blount? This offense can excel when you have guys that can run. So Miles plus, why not? And yet here we are. And like you said, you got to run the damn ball. And if Boston Scott and Corey Clement can't come in and provide anything, it's scary as hell, man. I'm hoping for the best, but it looks pretty grim. Like when you look at this team and what we did depth-wise, it's like, Jesus, dude, it's scary. Like we really don't care about Carson and this team, like just trying to look smart. I don't understand it, man.
Yeah, and like I said before, Jimmy, it's almost like it's constructed. Now, again, you can't predict injuries and you can't plan for injuries, but it almost seems as if Carson's just set up to fail at this point. And again, he doesn't have time in the pocket because his line's bad. He's holding on to the ball too long because his wide receivers can't get open. Zach Ertz is having a conflict with Harry Roseman because of his contract. Maybe his play's falling off a little bit because of it. He's in his own head. But there's so many different things that come to it. And I'm not going to even bring up the whole possibility of even benching Carson Wentz, because if you do that, I'm not even going to talk about this week, because that's not a possibility. If he continues to struggle to like week 8 or 9, I think then a lot of us will start having that conversation. But what people have to understand as well is if you're going to plan on benching your franchise quarterback, your $100 million guy, and say Jalen Hurts plays well, it kills a guy's confidence. It completely kills a guy's confidence. Talking about Carson Wentz, it completely kills a guy's confidence.
You're blowing up the entire team. You do that.
At that point, yeah, because there's no coming back from that.
And he's on the contract, though. That's the scary part. I don't know if they really – I don't know, man. That's rough to think about. And Tyler says here, if we get 3 to 4 wins here, I don't know if we give up on Carson yet. I don't know if that's a possibility. And I don't think we give up on Doug either. I think that they love these guys, and they're going to use Corona as an excuse. It's a short season, this, that. Even though these guys are clearly failing at what they're supposed to do, I think it's going to be a year full of excuses, man.
Yeah, and I get that too, Jimmy. But I think the other thing is as well, I think there's a lack of direction with this franchise too. And what I mean by that is you give Carson Wentz all this money, you pay him over $100 million, but then the following year you draft a quarterback in the second round after paying your franchise quarterback $100 million.
Yep. Do we share the same vision here?
Yeah. And what kind of precedent does that set? Like, I know Howie Roseman called him, and Wentz is going to be like, oh yeah, sure, fine, whatever. But you tell me, I don't care what sport you play. You're going to draft theoretically my potential replacement if I don't play well, just a year after I sign my contract. Like what does that tell me? Well, like, and then you start getting in your own head as an athlete, being like, okay, so do they not have confidence in me? It doesn't make sense. Like, I get we need depth, but the second round we had there's plenty of free agents out there. There was plenty of people to sign. Why in the second round? Why a high draft pick on a guy at my position? You know what I mean?
You think he ain't going to his wife after that phone call and being like, yo, you believe this shit?
Absolutely.
So like people don't factor that into it. And now he's trying to, overplay right now, if that makes sense. Exactly.
Yep.
Now he's trying to do everything, I don't want to say home run every play, but air quote home run every play. Mm-hmm. And he's got to get back to what he was successful with last year, which was just going through the offense and trusting the offense. And I know there's nothing out there, but you still have a damn good running back who's a playmaker, and you have a tight end who's a playmaker. So, and you just have to hope Greg Ward can get open a little bit. So it's not like, not everybody's down, thank God. So you need these guys to step up around them, and he's got to step up. So you have to get him early going here. Like you have to start doing some things to get his confidence going, like a pitcher, like first pitch strikes, baby. You know what I mean? First pitch strikes, you start to feel good about yourself. Well, same thing. I mean, if I'm 8 for my first 10, hypothetically, right now I'm feeling confident in my throws. So that's why that's why I always talk about the RPO game, because the RPO game makes you be decisive. So it forces decisiveness on you, and it gets linebackers moving. So it opens up things. It makes some clearer lanes for throws. So it gets you going. So the fact that I watched them RPO with Foles, and people want to tell me Frank Reich, that's great. Foles played pretty good in 2018 when he got a run too. So, just to tell everybody it's all Frank, right? We said the blowjob fest. But, he played pretty good in 2018, and Frank wasn't here, and Doug was still RPOing. So, a significant amount of time.
Yeah.
So why not that stuff? That's my question to you guys. Like, I don't understand why we don't try to get them going early. And it doesn't need to be the big play. It doesn't need to be the 30-yard downfield play to get you going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they like this West Coast style offense, a rendition, and they'd like to – sometimes get that rolling, and you have to with an offense where it is right now. You're going to have to get Carson's confidence up, and you're going to have to do some of those screen plays, some of those quick slants, some of those things with Greg Ward, Zach Ertz that make him feel confident, get this team rolling. And, by running the ball, you set that up. But you're right, Tom, even before the injuries, why are we not seeing any of this creativity and doing things where you just get the ball in certain guys' hands? Why are we messing around? And you saw some bombs that were caught and then missed in the first game, and that's, rightfully so, beginning of the season. But after that, you haven't seen anything. Now we're not doing anything creative. It's a mess, man. And Jamar Chase was talked about, Tyler. Someone asked me who I'd pick if we had a top 10 pick, and I said, you got to do everything you can to get Jamar Chase. So that would be my pick, man.
Well, I mean, my pick would be, and I got to look at it. I mean,
but it depends, right?
Well, I mean, me right now. I mean, Jamar Chase is great. That's cool. But I got to look at the linebacker position.
Yeah.
Or I just got to be okay.
Defensive end.
I don't give a shit what position it is. Honestly, I just need the best player
at that
his position.
Exactly.
Available. So if that's a left guard, if that, you know what I mean, if that's a freaking, if that's an outside playmaking receiver, if that's a running back, if that whatever, if that's a D end, if that's a linebacker, if that's a corner, I don't care if it's a safety. You understand what I'm saying, guys?
Yes.
So
that's exactly what I said, brother.
If we had the fifth pick, I just want the best player on the board, whoever that may be, because we just got to get better. We need some stars, some impact stars.
I forget who it was that said it, but they're like, who would be? And I said the same thing to them. I was like, I don't even want to answer your question because who knows what the biggest hole is going to be by next year. You need so many things. Linebacker, defensive end, is Jalen Mills, are these guys going to work out? Do we need another corner with Slay? Because Slay's getting older too. We might have him for a few years, but let's get real here, guys. There's holes everywhere. And I love that you bring up the offensive line because I said the thing you got to look at is you really want to protect your quarterback. Sure, giving him weapons is great and everything, but we got to protect him too. So hell yeah, Tom, give me the best available at our biggest, and it's not even about biggest need because we got needs everywhere. So give me, so we'll see next year where we're at. It's going to be fun, but I really don't want to have to talk about it is what I was saying. You know what I mean? It's like,
like if it's like a Julio Jones type wide receiver, like, we're in. If it's a freaking, a shutdown corner, then we're in. If it's a pit middle linebacker, we're in, or a linebacker of any sort. If it's the only position you probably don't do is D tackle, so, but again, if that's the best player available, then guess what you do? Maybe then you move on from Fletcher, and you try to get something back because you still have Malik and Hargrave. So maybe you do go that route. So there are different ways you can go, but any way you look at it, if it's a star, it gets you younger and better. And that's all that matters. And what do you say? The best O lineman in the draft.
About Sewell and Quentin Nelson. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. If you get a guy like that.
Where does Sewell play? Guard or center?
He's a guard. Yeah. So
he's a guard.
We need all of the above.
Well, you hope to have a good Andre Dillard next year. So you would love to pair a guard on your left side and feel good about it, or on your right side because Salamalo can play when he's in.
Yeah.
So really, and Brooks will be back. So it doesn't really matter.
Saying he's a left tackle, so you think he's saying that Sewell's a left tackle?
See, I don't know if you can.
I thought he was rejected.
Okay. I don't know if you can do that. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing with a guy you traded it? You
don't traded up to get,
yeah. And what sucks is you don't have a year to see Andre Dillard. So I think if you're going to use him for a year, he could play left guard, maybe kick out, play right guard, whatever he can do. If he can maybe push Dillard, you do have to worry that he might not. Pan out. But Dillard, unfortunately, we're going to have to wait. And that sucks. Whether he sucks or not, we don't know. Micah Parsons. Oh, hell yeah. Hook it up, dude. I'd take Micah Parsons in a heartbeat, too. But it depends where we're at, man. And what way. I mean,
listen. It can go two ways. Like, if we lose this weekend, the ridiculous part of it is we're not out of it yet. Yeah. Even though we stink. So there's two ways you look at it. You're either gonna end up competing for the division, which doesn't say much, right? Or you're gonna be a bad football team, and a bad football team probably puts you in the top 10, right? And if you're in the top 10 and you want to be aggressive, you can go get a star player. What's the point of all these picks? Well, if I got to go up 5 picks, the whole point is to get a star, and wherever that star may play. That's what you need. I mean, everything's star-driven leagues.
Sick of not getting one.
Yeah, I don't have enough on this roster. I don't have enough stars on this roster.
Projects.
Like, who's the best receiver coming out next year? Is he top 5 worthy? Is he an outside guy? Can he go up? Can he go up and get stuff? You know what I mean? Like that. That's what I want. I want guys who can win one-on-one battles. I want guys who can stretch the field, but can go across the middle and be physical and take something to the house too. Like I want a specimen, right? I don't want a bunch of little gadget ass dudes running around. Like I want some big boys who can run, right, and do some things. And to whoever the player is, but I can't believe I'm talking about this. Should we talk about this? You guys do any types of like scores or anything like that?
Where we were gonna get to the end. We were waiting for you, so we'll get there.
My bad.
No, you're good. But Joker mentioned Dillard at left guard. That's the problem. If you're bringing in another left tackle, you're giving up hope. I don't think he can move Dillard at left guard. That's why I said about
moving the guard right now. Yeah,
he can't. He's not strong enough to play guard. No way in hell. And I'm not trying to say you're wrong, Joker, but it's a good question. It's just I think that, if you're bringing Sewell, you're giving up already on Dillard, and they're not going to do that, whether or not it's the right move or not. But, hey, if he's the best available, I hope they would. But here's the thing. I can't get excited anymore about the drafts. I mean, they just suck. Even if we have a high pick, I'm going to be afraid. Like I said, a 37-year-old scuba diver, that comes in and play. What the like, that's what Howie's been doing, man. So I'm all about adding linemen, though. I was all about adding linemen this year. I wanted Cushionberry so bad. Oh, God, they could help as a guard, and then he could play center when Kelsey left. Not for us.
Nope.
So let's get into those scores. Let's talk a little bit about what we see now that Tom's with us, what we're seeing from this game. We talk about the fact that, the defense of the 49ers is banged up. They're missing a lot of pieces. Their offense is banged up as well, missing their quarterback. Our quarterback's missing all of his weapons. We're missing a cornerback number 2. We've got some problems of our own. So what do you guys see this being a sloppy shootout? Because Nick Mullins showed he could throw for over 300 yards last week, tear it up. I know it's the Jets, but we can't say much. So we're giving up points, man. We're giving up like 29 points a game, I think it is. Tom, you are the score master. What do you see happening this week in the Eagles versus 49ers game Sunday night, man? Primetime football for the world to see.
Wow, I mean, now you're calling me like the money man. Like I'm
just saying. I know you love to do it. I'm not. You always bring the heat. I love it, man. So.
No, I haven't been right. So you know what I mean. You don't know what I got. I don't know what I got.
None of us have been.
But I'll tell you this: if there's ever a game where I need, we talked about earlier, I need my defense to step up and have a monster game. It's this game on Sunday. So. When I looked at it on Wednesday, I was 21-17 Eagles, right? Because I think that's the kind of game you have to go play to win. In my opinion, I don't know where we're getting 30 plus from, right? So how do we win this game? Well, we got to win it, a little bit. We got to win on the defense side. We got to play. It's got to be a low scoring game. So I was saying 21-17, and I think I'm still at 21-17 for this football game. I'm banking on a defense coming and traveling and being a big money defense that we need them to be, and our offense doing enough, right? And I could also see us winning, I could also see us somehow putting up 28 somehow because, we're getting turnovers that aren't expected, right? And maybe even like a pick 6 or something big, right? I could even see something like that happening. So there's a lot of possibilities and moving parts that could happen. And it's what's great about the NFL. Like, do we really stink? Like, I guess we're going to find out Sunday if we really stink. Right? You know what I mean? Like, I know we're banged up, but we're still going to find out. Like, do we really stink? And I think if we get our doors blown off, I think it's time that you can start jumping off that cliff. And yes, and reality's semi there. And even saying that, you can jump off the cliff and just, instead of drowning, just swim, because maybe they go win 2 games in a row because the division's so shitty. And you're like, oh my God, they're back into it. And you start swimming the shore. You know what I mean? So like NFL's crazy. The way they've played over the past couple of years has been nuts, where they all of a sudden a switch goes off and they start playing good football. Yeah. I mean, I think that's what it's funny. I think we've all been waiting for that, right? Like every week, it's like I talked about resiliency. Resilient. We're tying the Bengals. So, you know what I mean? Like, I can't talk resiliency anymore. You got to now go prove to me that you have the resiliency this year, because now the trend's the opposite way. It doesn't look like you have the resiliency. So now you got to prove us all wrong. And I don't know if this football team is good enough to do it on Sunday, but I'll still take them to win. So somehow win a sloppy, tough football game.
I'm with you on that, Tom. I had him at 27-23, and that was given hope. And then I see all these receivers out, and it's going to rely on Miles Sanders. If he can get some points, and if Carson can do some things with his legs, open this offense up with both of those things. If we can do that, get the defense to make some turnovers and put us in a good position, I think we can get that amount of points. It's going to be hard seeing how this offense is played. But shutting them down is going to be key, like you said. So, with them scoring 23, I see, a few field goals and 2 touchdowns. I think Kittle could eat us alive. But we got to try to stop Jeff Wilson. We got to stop McKinnon. He's somebody that could definitely get us. I could see it going the opposite. I could see them putting up some points on us. But I'm trying to be with you there, Tom. I'm with you. So I want to believe in this team. And I think that this, like I said, is one of those games in this tough stretch that we could go away with. So let's get this effing W, Birds. Jake, how are you seeing this game go down?
Listen,
Tom?
Jake, we need 100. We need 100+ rushing yards from Miles Sanders.
Yes, no 95.
And we need probably over 50 yards receiving from Miles Sanders. We almost need to combine 150 yards from Miles Sanders to be able to compete on Sunday.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. That was the thing last week, right? Get him against the linebackers. So,
the 32nd ranked defense, rush defense in football. Miles huffing and puffing in the fourth quarter. He's huffing and puffing. So, you got to get somebody else, and there we are again. So go ahead, Jake.
Yeah, that, and you're going to need Zach Ertz to step up. But again, we'll see, because at this point, that's all they really have to focus on, the 49ers I'm talking about. That's all they really have to focus on. But again, I wasn't really the biggest glimmer of positivity last week, and I'm not going to vary from that this week. The 49ers are banged up, but again, they can show they're still able to move the football. They got running backs. They're still able to run the ball. The Eagles' run defense has been putrid as of recent. So, and their secondary, take out Darius Slay, is absolutely abysmal. So I don't see how you get an interception unless Nick Mullins just decides to get ballsy and try and contest with Darius Slay the entire game. But just talking about the defensive side, but then moving on to offense, all you really have is, like I said earlier, Zach Ertz and Miles Sanders, and makes a simple defensive game plan for Kyle Shanahan and the guys over there in San Francisco. So you isolate those guys and you take those guys out. All you really have for Carson Wentz is Greg Ward and a bunch of rookies with no experience. So, and Carson Wentz, I don't see how this is going to be a make-right game for him either. So right now, I don't think it's going to be pretty. I don't think it's going to be good on national television. We're all going to be going to bed a little sad. I got the Eagles losing 31-17.
Yeah, I can see it, man. I can see them, getting over 30, us allowing that if our offense doesn't step it up. That's what's scary. I'm just hoping that their injuries are something that is going to be something we can take advantage of rather than always being. But I'm just trying to be positive, man.
I hear you. I get it.
This damn team doesn't give me much hope, but I'm trying. I'm doing it for you fans because, honestly, my soul hurts, and I get it. Jake, you have to be. That's why I love this show and this brand. It's agree to disagree, and I know a lot of you guys. What up, Matt? We're about to be rolling out, but, dude, we're just talking about how atrocious we've been playing, but trying to have a little bit of hope here. If it were Jimmy G and a healthy Debo and a fully healthy Kittle, I think this would be a slaughtering of us and a Sherman and D Ford, but they're missing a lot. Akilla Witherspoon missing their corners. That's good for our crappy wide receivers, and we just got to hope that some miracles, right, Jake? Hoping for miracles, baby.
Oh, that's all we can hope for at this point.
We got to change in. We got Eagles winning. I love it, man. We're trying to put it out in the air. Let's just go ahead. Let's go ahead. I can't believe we tied, though. I still can't believe we're sitting here talking about the fact that we tied.
For a damn tie.
I'd rather have just said, Jake, you were right. We lost. Okay. But instead, it's like, what the? I'm pissed. And as soon as I get off here, I'm going to think of more things I wanted to say because I've been so pissed off this past week. I'm like, I'm going to fucking eat them alive. But trying to be positive. Mm-hmm. But any final words before we head on out, Jake?
I think Tom does for Sunday, but I'll leave that to him. But
I'll get to Tom. Yeah.
But by all means, guys, get our new "Bad Things Happen in Philadelphia" T-shirts. They've been selling like hotcakes. over at phillydrinkers.com. Been doing really well. Funny ass shirt. You have a bunch of different variations. You have your Flyers, Eagles, Sixers,
Yeah.
even a little Wawa in there for you local Delco people.
Yes.
So
Love it.
love it.
Well,
Go
hell yeah,
plug,
man. Tom, what are your final thoughts for this evening and for this weekend, my brother?
My final thoughts for this evening. I didn't expect week 3 to be talking so much negativity when it comes to this football team, but that's my thoughts for tonight. And in terms of this weekend, I'm hoping my boys play good this weekend and continue to play good, so the Eagles don't ruin my Sunday. You know what I mean? Because as much as I want to pick them to win, it's hard to say this football team is good enough to go anywhere and beat anybody. So yeah. I want to keep, people say, "Oh, Tom, you're a homer." Now, homer comes to an end when trends happen. Okay, I've been pretty consistent with that throughout my tenure. And they better go win a fucking football game on Sunday. You understand me? You understand me? There's no excuses on Sunday. Okay, and you got $100 million people all over the place. Go win a game.
Exactly. There are no excuses. And I'm sick of being pissed off. I'm sick of having to say it every single week. And now I'm truly pissed off. And I'm with you, Tom. I'm not going to let it ruin my weekend. I'm trying to look for things, doing things with my family. That way I'm set up for success, not losing my mind on Sunday, because I am ready to lose it. I cannot take seeing this team that was supposed to be doing so much more. And yet here we are with this crap. So like Tom said, let's go win a football game, because if not, then we're going to be talking about the draft. We're going to be talking about how much we need a fire sale, this and that. You're going to be hearing things coming out of left field. So come on, Eagles. We're trying to be there for you, man. Be there for us. Let's go. So, we're going to get rolling out, guys. Hopefully this time next week, we're talking about our first victory and what we can do to grow on that with the team that just took a bye week. But we appreciate all you guys that tuned in tonight. All the questions, comments. Jake, as always, thank you for being my wonderful co-host. Tom, thank you I know how busy you are. Thanks for tuning in, man. I know you could only do an hour, but it was much appreciated. Hope everyone has a wonderful weekend. And by this time next week, let's get that W, baby. All right, everyone. Have a wonderful night. As always, go Bears!
Later, guys.
Later.